Can't begin to tell you how not excited for this I am. But like you said, we gotta rip the band-aid off. We are gonna finally tonight. I think you said that this would be a bit of a longer stream, but it'll be manageable. Are you feeling okay? Yeah. I just know things are already not going great in this game, and I don't see it getting better. I don't see it getting better. Because a finale? That's like, I don't know. Someone's gonna die. I only have two other chapter finales to go off of, but neither of them give me a great impression of how this can go. Someone's gonna die. I'm interested though, because both times the endings, that's typically where we get the climax of the chapter, which that's going to be crazy if that's the case for this stream, because the going through with the plan of killing Sadako's uncle sure felt like a climax, but I guess we're not actually there yet. Um, so I don't know. But both previous endings of each chapter, were they each had some crazy things happen that I feel like are significant, and when I get to the ending of this chapter, I'm hoping that more things will have happened, that I can have more pieces of the puzzle to put together. Because trying to solve this game is like you're trying to solve a puzzle, but you don't have all of the pieces. They get handed to you one by one every once in a while. But after this, we get to chapter 4, and then that's it for the question arcs, huh? I don't even know what an answer arc looks like, but I'm excited to get there. I wish you the best of luck with this one. Fantastic. Okay. We read the tips you said, so. Oh, okay, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. The body wasn't there. The police didn't arrest me because of that, but I didn't know whether to feel happy about it. Just like Sadako had said, I'd failed to kill her uncle. The body wasn't there, so I was forced to conclude as much. No matter what strange natural disaster, coincidence, or miracle it might have implied. In order to free Sadako, I became a demon. This abnormal world was my reward. Yes, metaphorically, I had fallen into the demon world. But if that price had been in exchange for the life of Sadako's uncle, then that would have been fine. Since Sadako's uncle was still alive, still shackling her to him, I needed to become a demon once again. One more time. No, as many times as it took. I would kill that man over and over again until Sadako was liberated. I'd already awoken. I looked at the clock to see that it was early in the morning, at just about 5. It was already light outside. Once I'd hardened my resolve to become a demon again, I could feel my whole body teeming with the awkward power once more. Time wasn't an issue. No matter what, I'd do it. I got myself up. The exhaustion from the past 2 days was completely swept away, and I didn't even feel sleepy anymore either. Slowly rose and made sure my body was moving like I wanted it to. I could feel blood flowing through each and every one of my fingers. As I got dressed, I let my mind wander and had a strange thought. These 2 days, while I've said it was for Sadako's sake, the only thing on my mind has been killing. I've said it was for Sadako. While actually carrying out the act, I'd completely forgotten about Sadako, albeit only temporarily. Maybe initially it was for Sadako's sake. Now I was just a demon, killing for the sake of killing. And as a result, I'd sunk into a world fit for such a demon. Maybe it was the same for Satoshi. He resolved himself to kill his aunt to save Sadako, became a demon, then disappeared from the sunlit Hinamizawa, vanishing into the demon world. Which meant that after all was said and done, I'd met the same fate as him. I'd tried to avoid making the same mistakes, but it happened anyway. Which meant that maybe Satoshi was here. Satoshi had come to this world a year before me, so he would be here somewhere. Then, surprised, I stopped walking. There was the second set of footsteps I'd grown so used to hearing.
お前、ひょっとして、サトシなのか?
Could you be Satoshi? The empty, lifeless air wouldn't give me an answer. But I felt a strange kind of relief. There was someone there. Satoshi had stuck with me the whole time. Let's go, Satoshi. Once more. This time, we will set Sadako free for sure. I quietly slipped out of the house so my parents wouldn't notice. If they caught me now when I've been out way too late for 2 days now, they'd give me a really angry talking to. I didn't have the time to allow for that to happen. Today, I would put an end to it. The dead body disappeared, and I didn't have to bury it. I could just burn it to ashes and then take them with me, so I could kill him again every time he resurrected. I'd do it again. I'd kill him again. And this time I'd set her free. Outside, the morning light was so beautiful as to stagger belief. Thing is, we haven't even seen this guy since the incident. Like, as far as we're aware, he's alive. But we've not seen him. You know? It's weird. I mean, we don't see him much anyway, but we have not seen him. We haven't gone to Sadako's house to actually see. I went to the storage room to find weapons with which I could kill him for sure. Blunt or not, it didn't matter to me. Right now, I didn't need to care whether someone saw or if the police came. This world had gone crazy after all. A world where I'd shown up at the festival and had fun even though I wasn't there. Body was gone, I know. Which is nuts. There are a few main possibilities. Number one, I somehow failed to kill the guy. No, you know, supernatural nonsense. He just somehow survived the beating I gave him, didn't drown in the muddy hole while I was burying him, and clawed himself out of the hole I dug for him, and made it home and is still kicking, but also didn't immediately go and report me to the police because he would have recognized me probably. Because he definitely, it's not like I disguised myself. That would all be weird. Number 2 possibility. There's 2 of this guy. And I killed one while another was just chilling doing something else the whole time. And the one I killed, maybe it was a fake something, like a fucking spirit, and it just was able to disappear mysteriously because it wasn't actually a real person. I'm believing in spirits of some kind, like spirit duplicates. That's where I lean. Or I really am, as to take what Keiichi is saying literally, I'm in another world now. But like, the hole I dug was there, and my lantern was there, and the bat was gone, and all of that. Like, those events all still happened. It's just the hole didn't have a body in it. So, I don't know. There is also a second Keiichi running around, apparently. See, here's the deal. Keiichi's talking a lot about becoming a demon. I'm wondering if, like, there really is some shit here. It does feel like we have a couple of cases now of people being in 2 places at once. Like, fucking Takano was with us during the festival in chapter 2, even though she had apparently been dead, like, before. And, the same thing happened with Mion, where she had apparently been dead when she came to, like, my house that one time and fucking got me. So, seems like we've got duplicates running around. Even if the police arrested me, I'd probably end up going right back home as if nothing had happened. With me and that other Keiichi Maibara. Even without me, he'd fill in. I could vanish from Hinamizawa without anyone noticing. So basically, I didn't care if I was mistakenly killed. Even if I died, Keiichi Maibara would remain. After all, this isn't the world I belong in. If I was going to be killed mistakenly for Sadako's sake, then that was just part of my duty as her Nini. As those desperate thoughts became serious, the morning air felt more refreshing to me, strangely enough.
これは怖いな。
Oh, this one's scary.
こいつにするか。
Let's go with this. It was a hatchet meant for chopping thick firewood. Its hefty steel blade was sinister, almost as though it was a tool meant for killing people. I couldn't exactly take it in public like that, so I wrapped it in a little in some old newspaper and tossed it into the basket on my bike.
連日、悪い用事に使ってばかりで悪いな。
Sorry for using it for evil all the time.
今日も頼むぜ。俺の足。
I'll need you again today, my legs. Apologize to my bike for some reason. The past 3 days, I've only used it for dangerous things. I've been riding this bike ever since I lived in my old town. I could walk most places I wanted to go, so I hadn't used it all that much. My mom had bought it for me when I entered cram school, thinking it'd be a convenient way to get to the station since it was far away. So I'd always used it to get back and forth from cram school. I'd only ever put textbooks and class materials in the front basket too. I never tried to put a hatchet that I'd be using to kill someone in here. When I came to Hinamizawa, life finally felt fun. I met the best friends ever and had some of the greatest times ever. Those times might have been shattered now, but it was my greatest wish that I could get them back, even if I had to risk my life to do it. That's how fun those times had been. I killed someone. And now I was at it again, needing to kill someone. Murder was a crime. I didn't believe that people should ever think murder was okay. But still, the times I'd had were enjoyable enough for me to commit such a crime. My friends were irreplaceable, and the time spent with them a treasure. Hanging out, laughing, sometimes tricking each other, but always in a friendly way. I didn't fear committing any crime, as long as it was for the sake of taking back those times that gave my heart so much pleasure. Yes. This was a value I decided to uphold. It wasn't something I learned from a school teacher. It was a noble path that I chose for myself. I thought back to when I'd first come to Hinamizawa. About how on the very first day, Sadako had welcomed me via a blackboard eraser with a rock in it. That welcome really surprised the heck out of me. She would laugh, get angry, cry. She was never boring. She was obviously the most childlike one among us, but she was actually lively, full of vim and vigor, and good at meddling in other people's business. That went for Mion, Rena, and Rika-chan too. Wasn't Sadako the one at the center of everyone's laughing and banter? Sadako would try to look cool. Then Mion would make fun of her endlessly. Then Sadako would cry, which would put Rena in a state of ecstasy. Rika-chan would be greatly delighted. And I happened to get mixed up in it. We would always fool around like that. It was lonely when someone wasn't around, but if I had to name one for whom it was the worst, it would have been Sadako. Her smile was everyone's smile. Ever since she stopped smiling, so did the rest of us. And for the rest of us, unsmiling was the same as dying. It was just like when I was silently going to cram school every day, just to maintain my unchanging test scores. So, basically we were nothing when she wasn't smiling. She was full of hot air, but she was our princess, cute and unhateable. In that case, I was her knight, searching for the dragon's castle in order to win her smile back.
ナイトなら武器は剣だろ。
Knights, of course, use swords.
ツーハンデッドのかっこいいやつ。
The awesome two-handed kind.
錆びた肉厚のナタで挑むナイトは、多分古今東西俺一人だな。
I'm probably the only knight in the history of the world to be taking someone on with a thick, rusty hatchet. And then I saw an old person in the ridge of a field waving to me.
おや
Oh my.
ケイチくんかい
Keiichi-kun.
朝のサイクリングかいね
Out for a morning ride, I see.
おはようございます
Good morning. I reflexively waved back in a refreshing way. Should I really have been feeling so happy waving like that? Sadaka's has to be right past this road, going beyond the rice paddies. So, like, I know we're going to kill that guy a second time, but I don't think I really asked are we coming in with, like, a new plan to get away with it? Or are we just going, fuck it, we getting fired anyway, Ernie, and walking in with our hatchet? And doing it like fucking Christian Bale does to Jared Leto in American Psycho. Cicadas had woken up too. The next thing I knew, I was the audience to their daily chorus. I gave myself a hit or two in the head and drove away my merry morning mood. I took a deep breath and tilted my head back, quelling my pointless excitement. The body wasn't there. Its absence either meant my killing him had been an illusion, or that I'd killed him and he'd risen from the dead. That's a possibility that I also didn't acknowledge earlier, is that what if he did die, and he just came back to life somehow? That could be possible. I lean towards less zombies and more ghosts, but we'll see. If I was at the festival, maybe I should have considered it an illusion. Coach probably thought that way, which is why he treated me like a lunatic. But it being an illusion was just impossible. I killed him without a doubt. Without a doubt. I don't think he cares anymore. Yeah, I think he really doesn't care whether he gets caught or not, because if he doesn't get caught, great, you know. It's not impossible this happened because we're in some fucked up demon world now where things are wrong. Or if we don't get away with it, it's like that's fine. There's another Keiichi. He'll fill in for me. He was apparently at the festival. That had been an illusion. That would make all of the Shinimizawa I was in right now an illusion. If that was the case, then here's how it would end up. I was actually in a vegetative state due to a traffic accident, and I was currently dreaming in a hospital bed about how great it would be to spend time with friends in rice paddies like these. That was a terrifying thought, though. I swear to God, if this game's twist is, you were in a coma, it was all in your head, I'm gonna kill this guy. If this wasn't an illusion, then the only possible answer is that he'd resurrected. It would make him a literal monster. But if he was such a monster, then I was no less than a monster myself. I didn't hesitate to kill someone and even wield curses. Takano-san had died because I'd cursed her. Maybe that was a little much. If Coach and Oishi died too, like I'd cursed them to yesterday, then I'd believe it. I set my bicycle aside and went to take a look. The motorbike wasn't here. Of course it wasn't. I sent it down to hell that night, throwing it into Onegafuchi Swamp. Or maybe. Just like how the corpse wasn't here. Maybe the motorbike didn't get thrown into the swamp either. The fact his bike wasn't here might have been because he had gone to town and hadn't come back. Not necessarily because I'd thrown it into the swamp. If her uncle wasn't around, then that was convenient on its own. Then I'd just show myself in and wait for him to return, sharpening my hatchet. If he was there. Forgotten sensations came back to my gut. A feeling of tension rose within me. The sensation was like poison, dulling my actions. It could also be the trigger to allow me to awaken to my superhuman, otherworldly self. I held the hatchet, still wrapped in newspaper. Its weight in my hands was profound, sinister, and reliable. I hadn't put on my watch, so I didn't know what time it was. It was probably still a little before 7. Sadako would probably be awake, preparing breakfast and her lunch. But her uncle would probably still be lazing around in bed. A guy like him probably would have stayed up late drinking and probably always slept until noon. I considered ringing the doorbell and having Sadako open the door for me, but if her uncle woke up at the sound, I'd waste my chance of him still being asleep. If Sadako saw me sneaking inside without ringing the doorbell, she'd be surprised. If I ran into her, what would I say? I've come to kill your uncle for you, so stay quiet? No, I couldn't do that. It would be like making Sadako responsible for his death. Be quiet and go wait outside. Maybe that would do it. How would Sadako react to that? She would probably try and get me to give up on killing him. I'd have to lie somehow to get her out to go outside. Sadako didn't need to know that a murder was going to occur in this house. I couldn't quite think of a good lie to tell her. Couldn't do much just standing around like this. We're gonna do this, like, now? We're only 30 minutes into the stream. I made up my mind and grabbed the doorknob. Then slowly turned it and pulled. It wasn't locked. The gap between the door and the wall steadily grew larger. The chain wasn't even on. The oppressive smell of life in Sadako's house hit me. At the entrance, there were a few pairs of shoes and sandals. I couldn't tell whether he was here or not just by looking at them. I could hear a television on somewhere. The television was in the messy dining room. There was food scattered about the table, giving an impression decidedly different from a happy family's mealtime. Meals for eating food while thanking the person for making it. Meaning whatever occurred in this dining room wasn't a meal. Nobody in sight. No sign of anyone either. With the television on, he must have been close. Could he have anticipated my coming and be hiding, waiting for me? The tension I felt was so thick, so tight that I thought it would choke me. The newspaper wrapping the hatchet's thick blade didn't hamper its power at all. I tightened my grip on it, then very carefully took a look around. Where had those peaceful feelings from before I arrived here gone? Even the sound of sweat bubbling up on my brow got on my nerves. And then, I looked at the table and realized something. This wasn't breakfast. The grains of boiled rice were all hard and dried up. And was it last night's dinner? I left the dining room, keeping vigilant, went down the hallway, and found the stairs to the second floor. When that man was playing with his friends, he looked out of a second-story window. It's highly possible that room was his own and that he slept there. Okay, how much you want to bet that we're gonna walk into his room and his dead body, just like we left it with a Bastion head, is gonna be there? I tiptoed up the edge of the stairs, quietly climbing without making a sound. Couldn't hear any kind of snoring. Didn't hear anything up there. I went through a few rooms, slowly and quietly opening the paper doors, checking inside. I still couldn't find anyone around. To search more efficiently, I got down on the floor and pressed my ear right up to it. I could hear the television in the dining room, a low hum, perhaps of boiling water. It was then that I started to harbor some feelings of suspicion. This house wasn't right. It seemed like people had been here since the TV was on. It wasn't normal for nobody to be around this early in the morning. I silently descended the stairs and went back into the dining room. I looked at the food scattered about. Clearly dried up rice. An overturned bowl of miso soup. Package for a side dish bought at the supermarket. I could tell Sadako had definitely been the one who made this. The food was far from Mion's perfection or Rena's gentleness, but it was sincere. Judging by how she cooked for me at my house, and from the type and amount of side dishes, I deduced the meal was from last night. The number stamped to the food package read 830620. June 20th, 1983. It was yesterday. There was food for two. Which meant that this was last night's dinner. Sadako's uncle would have been here then. Stop it, Keiichi. Don't even think about saying the word impossible again. Anyway, her uncle was here last night. That much was the truth. He had found fault with Sadako's food, thrown the bowl of miso soup and flung the rest everywhere. Hidden deep within my feelings of calm and composure was lit a flame of anger and a curse. Should I have ever shown this man any mercy? Bump. I heard the sound again, the one from before, like a water boiler. What was it coming from? First floor? Where? The bathroom, maybe? I could hear the noise coming from the other side of the frosted glass at the far end of the changing room. It had to have been the sound of the water boiler for the bath. Steam was enshrouding the glass door, and the heat from it was leaking to the changing room where I was standing, too. My misgivings deepened. People didn't normally take a bath this early in the morning. If one did, it would mean that in this house, time had been stopped ever since some moment last night. Whistle, whistle, whistle. Is it being reheated? The water boiler in the bathroom had been active this whole time. I checked in a clothing basket and saw Sadako's familiar uniform stuffed in it. The uniform had stains and dried rice stuck to it. Certainly not something she could wear today. Probably from the miso soup at the dinner table yesterday. I looked hard at the frosty glass, but I couldn't see anything through all the steam. And then, an electric surge ran through my mind. A terrible premonition came over me. Could she? She couldn't possibly have been in there since last night. It'd be impossible. But no. In Misawa right now, nothing was impossible. I gulped audibly, then quietly pulled aside the glass door. Hot, steaming air burst out of the slight opening. The fan wasn't on in the changing room, so it went completely white with the steam. Just as the hot vapor poured into the changing room, cooler air also flowed into the room with the bath. I just heard, due to being hit by that air, a very weak moan. It was all I needed to know who it was.
Satoko!
What? No answer. Sadako's in the bathtub, surrounded by a thick layer of rising steam. The top half of her body was leaning over the edge of the tub. She was passed out. The water boiler kept on making a whistling noise as if angered. I could see the gas flame through a small window, roaring at full force, completely blue. Sadako's entire body was boiled red and flaccid, as though her bones had melted away. She was almost like a doll. She laid there unconscious. I wasn't sure how many seconds passed as I stared in complete bafflement. I came back to my senses and promptly shut off the boiler. Then I dragged Sadako's small body out of the bathtub. Water in it was as hot as the water in public baths. Was she in this boiling water the entire night? She'll die. She'll die! Sadako's body was lighter than I'd expected as I laid her on the floor and wrapped her in a towel. I went back into the bathroom and opened up the vent, creating a path for a cool breeze to come through. Upon the breeze hitting her, Sadako moaned again.
大丈夫かSatoko!
Is it alright, Sadako?
俺だケイイチだ
It's me, Keiichi.
わかるか
Do you understand?
聞こえるか
Can you hear me? Sadako recognized me and muttered a response, but couldn't really tell what she was saying. Her eyes were muddy and unfocused, and I could tell she wasn't completely conscious. Upon closer inspection, her limbs and waist were twitching slightly. This was way worse than normal overheating. This was dangerous. Didn't they call this heat stroke? Think, what would the teacher do if a girl passed out in the middle of summer during a marathon in gym class or something? I turned the water faucet in the kitchen all the way on and soaked a towel in it. I then took the cold towel and pressed it to Sadako's forehead. Sadako reacted harshly to the coldness and let out a muffled voice. For burns, right, you would soak the burn spot under running water. Then, could I run cold water in the shower and cool her off like that? No, if it was that sudden, it wouldn't be good for her heart. She'd go into shock. I think I read that once before. Thank God this guy knows that. I was scared he was gonna fucking dump her in some ice-cold water. This was about as much nursing as I could possibly give her. Anything more than this would be too much for the likes of an amateur.
大丈夫かSatoko!
What happened, Sadako?
もう大丈夫だからな
You're right now.
必ず俺がニーニーが助けてやるからな
I will... Your Nini will save you for sure.
5039
5,039.
5040
540... What was Sadako reciting under her breath? I brought my ear to her mouth to better make out the mysterious spell-like words she kept saying. And at that moment, I understood what they were for.
Satoko, お前数を数えてるのか
Sadako, you're counting?
なんで
Why? People tell little kids in the bath to count to 100 a lot, right? Sadako was counting like that. But 5,039?
バカ野郎
You moron.
お前の家の風呂はいくつ数える決まりになってんだよ
How long were you supposed to count in your own bathtub?
まあ
I doubted my ears, doubted her common sense. 10,000?
ふざけるなバカ野郎
You're a freaking idiot!
一番なんて数えられるバカがどこにいるんだよ
What kind of dumbass can count to 10,000?
数えられるわけねえだろ
There's no way you could do that!
その前に湯だって死んじまうに決まってんだろ
Boil that where you got that far.
どうしてこんなことに
Why were you?
おじまが
My uncle. Last night, her uncle flew into a rage at the dinner she'd made, saying it stunk and was inedible. Sadako didn't understand what on earth he meant. It wasn't much different than what she usually made for him. Maybe he hated the smell of the pickled vegetables she'd bought in particular. Her uncle then decided the stink was originating from Sadako. Shouted at her that she never ever took baths. Then, put Sadako in the boiling water and told her not to come out until she counted to...
殺してやる
I snapped and exploded. Raising the newspaper-wrapped hatchet, I stampeded through the house. I searched for anything. Traces, signs, smells, vibrations, heartbeats. With a war cry, I raced up the stairs with such force I could have stomped a hole through them. Then I found the futon in the room I thought to be her uncle's, and well aware he wasn't sleeping in it, I bashed it with the hatchet. Did he run into the closet? I'll bust the entire closet down, door and all. If he's not there, maybe there's a secret door. And there's switches or levers in the wall here. I smashed into wall after wall with the hatchet, crushing them. Dust rose into the air and broken pieces scattered about the floor. I smashed all the glass windows too, for good measure. After I destroyed everything beyond recognition in her uncle's room, my reason finally kicked in and suppressed my emotions. Anyway, her uncle wasn't in the house right now. I'd have to leave killing him until later. Right now, I had to do something about Sadako. I went back to the changing room. Sadako was still lying limp on the floor. There was nothing more an amateur like me could do for her. I needed to take her to the clinic. Coach had treated me like a lunatic yesterday and tried to lock me up in a mental hospital. Never wanted to see his damn face again. But I still needed to go to the infirmary one more time. Needed to have a doctor look at Sadako. I thought about putting her in the dirty uniform lying in the laundry basket, but I had no experience dressing someone, so it'd be pretty difficult. Shit, I don't have time to be wasting here. I eventually gave up on clothing her and decided to carry her in her bath towel. The clinic was close to Sadako's house. It'd be way faster to carry her there than to call 119 and get an ambulance. I threw the biggest towel I could find over her and prompted her to stand.
立てるか
Can you stand?
俺が診療所までおぶって行ってやるから
Carry you over to the clinic.
ありがとうですわ
Thank you. Her words sounded clearer than before. She was starting to come back. I cried tears of relief just knowing she'd improved even a little bit. Sadako turned over so she was lying on her face, and then put up a weak struggle to get up on a knee. I smoothly swept her up and put her on my back. The towel I put on her seemed like it was about to fall off.
バスタオル痛い
Towel, it hurts.
すぐ着くから、しばらくの間だけ我慢してろ。
We'll be there soon. It won't be long, so stay strong. It didn't hurt one bit to carry Sadako. She was light. Too light. The lightness actually made me uneasy. Outside, it had gotten hotter, as though eager to attack Sadako. Fucking cicadas. Why did it have to choose this morning to get so hot out? I didn't have time to swear at them. Clinic was this way. Hoisting Sadako on my back, I broke into a trot. Oh my god. Oh, she was gonna die in there if I didn't show up. The hilly road to the clinic, with which I had never had difficulties before, was now torturous. Big beads of sweat formed on my brow, and at some point my breath had grown faint. The hatchet in my belt was heavy and made it hard to walk. I considered leaving it, but I couldn't let it go, at least not while Sadako's uncle was still breathing. The signboard for the Erie Clinic came into sight. I quickly noticed something was odd, so I stopped. Several red revolving lights were flashing at the clinic. 3 police cars were parked in the parking lot with their lights on. There didn't need to be much else to inform me something had happened. Did something happen to Coach? I didn't want to see Coach, so I planned to leave Sadako in the clinic waiting room and give the receptionist a message. But with that police officer Uishi here, I couldn't go inside so carelessly.
なんですの
Oh, this poor vacant child. What's going on?
パトカーがいっぱいいますですわよ
Why are there so many police cars? I gently put Sadako down in the shade of the thicket.
わからない。
I don't know.
様子を見てくるから、しばらくここにいろ。
I'll go see what happens. You stay here for a moment.
レディをバスタオル1枚でこんなとこに置いてくなんてなってませんわね
Leaving a lady in a place like this wearing nothing but a bath towel. Simply unforgivable.
それだけ悪態がつけりゃ大丈夫だ。
If you can still fire off those insults, you'll be fine. I'll be right back, I added, getting to my feet. I didn't mean to put the smile. It's supposed to be a frown. Cautious of my surroundings, I hid myself behind a car and got closer to the officers grouped at the clinic's entrance. I overheard an officer wearing a necktie, probably their leader, and a white-robed doctor having a discussion about something. The doctor didn't seem to be Coach. He was one of those who Coach told to make the tea yesterday.
じゃあつまり最初に見つけたのは朝当番のあなただったと。
So you were the first one to find it since you were on morning duty. Oh my god, he's dead.
それで
So then,
どんな感じだったんです？
what did it look like?
事務室の所長席のソファーに座って居眠りをしているように見えました。
He was sitting on the sofa in the head office. He looked like he was taking a nap.
で机の上に水差しと空き瓶になった睡眠薬があったんで、あなたはすぐに睡眠薬で自殺したんだと考えたと。
There's a jug and an empty bottle of sleep medication on his desk, so you immediately thought he had tried to commit suicide with it.
それで
What else?
高熱と瞳孔の拡大に重度の意識障害も見られました。
His high temperature and dilated pupils indicated a severe disturbance of consciousness.
睡眠薬中毒の典型的な重症例だと思いましたので、直ちに対応に入りました。
Seemed like a typical case of sleeping pill poisoning, so I immediately began to treat him.
警察も救急も呼ばずに？
Without calling the police or an ambulance?
ここは病院で私は医師ですよ。
This is a hospital, and I'm a doctor.
生命が危険な状態にあるなら、直ちに治療して当然です。
Since his life was in danger, it's my job to treat him at once.
ああ、まあいいからいいから。それで？
Yes, yes, I understand. Okay. What else?
呼吸が不正常だったので、人工呼吸を施しました。
His breathing was in disarray, so I put him on a respirator.
合わせて呼吸刺激薬を投与。
I also administered breathing stimulants.
効果が出なかったので、人工呼吸器の準備をし、
It had no effect, so I prepared a medical ventilator and...
ああ、はいはい。
right.
それでつまり、いろいろ頑張ったけど、結局ダメだったと。
So in other words, you did what you could, but it wasn't enough.
そういうわけですよね。
That's it, right?
通報は死んでから直ちに？
You reported this as soon as he died?
はい、
Yes.
救うことができず、とても残念です。
It was very unfortunate that we were unable to save him. Just then, a radio in one of the police cars started to buzz, producing a broken mechanical voice.
こちら本部、こちら本部。
This is HQ, this is HQ.
小宮山さん、聞こえますか？どうぞ。
Komiyama-san, can you hear me? Over.
もしもし、
Hello?
小宮山です。
This is Komiyama.
ああ、お疲れ様です。
Come up with something.
睡眠薬での自殺みたいですね。
It looks like he committed suicide with sleeping pills.
遺書の類はなし。
No notes or anything. Suicide? What the heck were they talking about? Someone had committed suicide at the clinic. But who? I wished Takano-san dead. She died the next day. And yesterday, I wished Coach was dead. Then, could he have...
普段から睡眠薬を常用していたとかは？
Did he use sleeping medication regularly?
あまり知りません。
I don't really know.
日頃、疲れたとか死にたいとか、そんなこと言ってました？
Did he normally complain that he was tired or wanted to die?
入江先生は普段からああいう性格でしたから。
Well, Iri-sensei was normally so, well, himself.
とてもそんな風には。
Never acted like that. So, I was right. Iri-sensei. We're talking about Coach. Coach killed himself. Why would he do that? There couldn't have been any reason he wanted to die. The only reason that came to mind was that I wanted him dead. This world was insane. If I wanted someone dead, they'd die. That was the kind of world this was. Then, what about Uishi? What happened to him? If people really died because I wanted them to, then something should happen to him too.
そちらに応援が向かいました。
Sent you back up.
課長からそちらは応援に任せて大石社の捜索に戻るとのことです。
The chief wants you to leave the rest to them and get back to searching for Uishi's car.
了解しました。
Yes, sir.
じゃあすいません。
Please excuse me then.
こっちに今応援が来てるそうですから、現場はこのままにしておいてください。
It looks like we're getting relieved here, so please leave everything as it is right now.
おい、行くぞ。
Alright, let's go. The officers nodded and split out into their patrol cars. Did they just say searching for Uishi's car? Searching for his car. That meant he'd gone missing? Takano-san, Coach, and Uishi. When I wished for it, the very next day, they disappeared. No matter how angry you were when you said you wished someone was dead, it didn't normally happen. Everyone knew just wishing for it wouldn't make them dead, and that's why people could utter such curses so lightly. But the curses I uttered were being granted. At the time, I hadn't even been walking, and yet... Tap. I heard a footstep. And it wasn't only one this time. Tap, tap, that came from behind. and they stood right behind me, reaching a hand for my shoulder.
一体何事なんですの？
You scared me, kid. Would you mind telling me what's going on?
サトコか。
Sadako?
脅かすなよ。
Don't scare me like that.
驚いたのはこっちでしてよ。
I'm the scared one here.
いきなり大声を出さないでくださいまし。
Preferred if you didn't shout so suddenly. It was Sadako. Her eyes were still unstable, unfocused, but she seemed able to at least walk on her own now. She looked far better now compared to her earlier exhausted state.
具合はどうなんだ？
How do you feel?
もう大丈夫なのか？
You better?
まだ頭が痛いですけど、
My head still hurts.
いつまでもこんな格好で表にいられませんもの。
I can't stay outside looking like this forever. She gave a smile, a show of courage, but her legs were still shaky.
それより、これは一体何事なんですか？
I don't want to tell her. Anyway, what on earth is going on?
今、警察が話してるのを聞いてた限りじゃ。
From what I just heard the police talking about,
監督が自殺したらしい。
Coach apparently committed suicide.
え？
I don't know if she needed to know that right now. Sadako was at a loss for words. Her face grew paler and paler, and I could tell she was doubting her own ears.
ケイチさん、それ、
Keiichi-san, that...
本当ですの？
is that true?
何かの聞き間違いじゃないんですの？
I didn't mishear you?
確かにそう聞いたよ。
That's what I heard.
入江先生が睡眠薬で自殺したって。
They said Irie-sensei killed himself with sleeping pills. Sadako went down on her knees and broke out in tears.
嘘。嘘ですわ。
It can't be.
監督が自殺なんて、そんなの絶対に。
Coach, he would never ever kill himself. As I watched Sadako crying and clawing at the grass, I felt myself trapped by guilt and remorse. I got so angry that Coach was treating me like a madman yesterday, that he'd betrayed me, that I thought he'd be better off dead. But even Coach, who to me deserved to die, still must have had people who loved and respected him. Like Sadako here. In my selfish, egotistical anger, I wished for his death and it was granted. And now Sadako was crying hysterically as a result. The guilt tore at my heart. I worked myself up to murder for Sadako's sake. I decided I wanted Sadako to be happy. But was that really all it took? Murder meant taking someone's life. It meant making everyone attached to that person sad. In Sadako's uncle's case, of course, nobody would be sad. So I didn't feel a sense of guilt at all. But Coach's death was different. I had wanted to make Sadako happy. And that had resulted in me inflicting a deep sadness upon her, hadn't it? But Coach killed himself. It wasn't my... Sadako still hadn't stopped crying, but she seemed to be a little calmer now. Wiping her tears, she stood up.
すまない。
Sorry. And the only thing I could think of to say to her was an apology.
どうして謝りますの？
Why are you apologizing?
俺、
well,
昨日監督と喧嘩して。
yesterday I got into a fight with Coach.
お前なんか死んじまえって
I thought
呪ったんだ。
I wanted him to die.
呪ったから 本当に死んじゃって。
He wanted it so he really... Sadako looked at me dubiously for a few moments. Eventually, her expression softened as she interpreted my words in her own way.
圭一さんのせいではありませんわ。
It isn't your fault, Keiichi-san.
監督も大人ですもの。
Coach was an adult too.
自分の命を捨てるに値する都合があって悩んだ末に選んだんですもの。
Felt like there was something he had to give his life for, and chose to do so after a lot of worrying and suffering.
誰のせいでもありませんわ。
It's not anyone's fault. She smiled a little, trying to comfort me.
いつまでもこのままでいたくありませんわ。
Do not want to be like this forever.
服が欲しい。
I want some clothes.
いいのかよ。
You okay?
診療所に行って見てもらった方が。
Shouldn't you get someone at the clinic to...
服を着てから見てもらっても別に死にはしませんわ。
I won't die from putting on clothes before going. Sadako readjusted her bath towel and started back along the path. Her stride was wobbly, and it didn't look like she'd recovered as much as she let on. At first, Sadako tried to go back home, but it was the time of the morning when people were going to school and to work, so after seeing people walking around, she thought better of it. She must have been pretty embarrassed wearing only the towel.
理科の家に行きますわよ。
I'm going to Rika's house.
私の服あるはずですから。
My clothes should be there.
どうしたんですの？
What's wrong,
圭一さん。
Keiichi-san? Sadako noticed how I was hanging my head and spoke to me.
監督はああ見えても大人ですのよ。
Despite how he might have come off, Coach was an adult, alright?
圭一さんと喧嘩したくらいで自殺するような人ではありませんわ。
He would certainly not have killed himself after a petty fight with you, Keiichi-san.
自分を責めるのをおやしなさいませ。
Please, stop blaming yourself. It's hard not to. It's really hard not to. At first, I thought it was a coincidence. With 3 people now, I couldn't discard the possibility. There is no such thing as impossible in this world.
この数日おかしいんだ。
These past few days haven't made any sense.
何がですの？
What hasn't? Sadako seemed to be having trouble breathing, but she still tried to listen to what I had to say.
おとといの綿流しのお祭り、お前は途中で帰ったから行かなかったんだよな。
At the Watanagashi festival the day before last, you went home on the way there, right?
そして俺は祭りに行ってみんなと遊んだ。
And I went there and had a lot of fun.
らしいですわね。
So it would seem.
あの時は取り乱して申し訳ありませんでしたわね。
I do apologize for getting so upset with you about it. Sadako remembered how she blew up at me in the classroom yesterday and bowed to me a little.
実は俺祭りに行っていないって言ったら信じるか？
If I said I actually didn't go to the festival at all, would you believe me? Sadako looked at me, confused. She couldn't help it, of course.
信じられるわけありませんわ。
Of course I wouldn't believe you.
何を今さら。
What are you on about?
信じられないだろ。
You wouldn't, right?
信じられないのは
I don't
俺
believe
も
it
同
either.
じなんだ。だって俺は祭りに行っていないのに、俺が祭りに現れてみんなと遊んだって言うんだ。
I mean, I didn't go to the festival, but everyone's saying I hung out with them there.
こんなの信じられるわけないだろ。
Nobody would believe it, right?
それ本気ですの？
Are you being serious?
あ
Yeah.
あ、あの綿流しの夜からおかしいんだ。
Ever since the night of Watanagashi, everything's been messed up.
いつの間にか変な足音がペタペタとついてくるようになって。
These weird footsteps suddenly started following me everywhere. The blood drained from Sadako's expression.
足音がペタペタ。
Footsteps following you?
そうなんだ。
Yeah.
最初は気のせいだと思ってたけど、ずっとついてくるんだ。
Thought it was just my imagination at first. They stayed with me.
多分今もついてきてる。
Probably still there.
里子の足音と混じって、よく聞き分けられないけれど。
I can't tell them apart now because of your footsteps, though. Sadako took a long and hard look at me. Maybe she was doubting my sanity. Coach did the same thing. I mean, why wouldn't he, after telling him this? The more I thought about it, the more I was unable to endure the feeling that my hatred for Coach had been meaningless.
綿流しの日、
On the day of Watanagashi,
俺は祭りに行かず、
I didn't go.
あ
I
ることをしていたんだ。
was doing something else.
ずっとだぞ。
The whole time.
眠ったり、意識がなくなったりしたことはなかった。
I wasn't sleeping or unconscious or anything.
だから寝ぼけ気分でフラフラと、記憶になく祭りに出かけたなんてことはありえない。
So it's not possible that I walked to the festival half asleep and forgot about it afterwards.
それはおかしいですわね。
It is quite strange.
なら、どうやってお祭りで遊んだんですの？
How were you at the festival?
だから、
That's what I mean.
俺は祭りには行ってないんだよ。
I didn't go to the festival. No. Can't let myself get emotional. If I get agitated now, that'd be like proving that there's something wrong with my head.
ごめん。
Sorry.
みんなが信じてくれないんで、つい。
Well, nobody believes me, so yeah.
圭一さんがそう言うなら、信じてあげますわ。
That is what you say, Keiichi-san. I'll believe you.
それで、
Then what?
あの夜、高野さんに会ったんだ。
That night, I saw Takano-san.
それで、見下されたと思って。
I felt like she was looking down on me,
俺は心の中で念じたんだ。
so I made a wish.
お前なんか死んじまえって。
A wish that she would die.
高野さんって、どことなくそういう雰囲気がございますものね。
Takano-san does have that sort of air about her, doesn't she?
その気持ち、わからなくもありませんでしたよ。
Cannot say that I don't understand how you feel.
高野さんが死んだの、知ってるか？
Did you know that Takano-san died?
昨日の話だ。
Happened yesterday.
どこかで焼け死んだらしい。
Apparently she was burned alive somewhere.
それ、本当ですの？
Is that true?
死んだんですの？
She died?
俺が死ねと願うと、次の日には死んでるんだ。
I wished for her to die, and the next day she was dead.
それから警察の大石ってやつも
And Oishi from the police, too.
知ってるか？
Do you know him?
あのムカつく太った刑事みたいなやつ。
That annoying and fat detective guy. Sadako nodded a little.
さっき警察が話してるのを聞いたんだが、どうもあいつ行方不明になってるらしい。
I heard from the police earlier, but apparently he went missing.
実は昨日あいつにも死んじまえって念じてたんだ。
And yesterday, actually, I, well, wished that he would die.
それ、本当の話ですの？
Is all this true?
嘘じゃない。
I'm not lying.
俺だって信じたくないけど、本当の話なんだ。
I don't want to believe it either, but it's true.
高野さんも監督も大石も、俺が死ねと念じたら本当に死んでしまったんだ。
Takano-san, Coach, and Oishi. I wanted them dead, and then they really died. For a little while, Sadako was at a loss. A long silence ensued. Oh, so funny.
それは怖い話ですわね。
What a scary story.
圭一さんに、せめて嫌われないように気をつけませんと。
You should be sure not to get on your bad side, Keiichi-san.
それだけじゃない。
That's not all.
もっとおかしいこともあるんだ。
There's something even stranger.
それはお前のおじなんだ。
It's about your uncle.
おじさまの話はやめてくださいましな。
I would rather you not talk about my uncle.
昨日いたんだろ。
He was there yesterday, right?
お前の家に。
At your house.
あの人の話はやめてくださいます。
Can we please stop talking about him?
嫌なんですの。
I don't want to.
ありえないんだ。
It's impossible.
あいつがいるわけがないんだ。
He couldn't have been there.
やめてって言ってますのよ。
I said stop talking about him.
い
No.
あの男が綿流しの
Can't you stop?
いるわけがないんだ。
That man couldn't have been there after the night of Watanagashi.
だって
Because I...
あの男のことはもう嫌なんですの。
No more, please. No more about that man.
俺が殺したんだ。
I killed him
この手で。
with my own hands. Even the cicadas stopped crying. Her face was streaked with tears, and it stiffened even more as she looked at me in disbelief.
俺が綿流しの祭りの夜にお前の叔父を殺したんだ。
On the night of the Watanagashi festival, I killed your uncle.
だからお前の家に帰ってくるなんてことはありえないんだ。
So, it's impossible that he could have gone back home. Still, he went back. And last night, he found fault with the dinner you made him, yelled all sorts of things at you, and basically boiled you in the bathtub. That couldn't possibly have happened.
だから俺はあの男を確かに殺したという証拠を確かめるために埋めた死体を昨日掘り返したんだ。
So I wanted to make sure I'd actually killed him. Yesterday, I went to dig up the corpse I buried.
だがそこには死体はなかった。
Body wasn't there.
こんなことがありえると思うか。
Is that even possible?
確かに殺したのに死体がないんだ。
I killed him for sure, but there's no body.
そして何事もなかったかのように帰宅してお前の前に
And he went home like nothing happened, home to you, and
こんなことがあっていいはずないだろう。
that wasn't supposed to happen, was it? Sadako's entire body stiffened. She was shrinking away like there was someone in front of her about to hurt her.
お前も
Probably.
俺のこと頭が変になったって思ってるんだろうな。
Think I've gone a little crazy, don't you?
無理もないさ。
I don't blame you.
俺だって信じられない。
Can't believe it myself.
圭一さんはきっと偶然呪った人が死んでしまったんで混乱してるだけに違いありませんわ。
Keiichi-san, I think you're very confused after all the people you wished were dead coincidentally died.
監督の自殺にショックを受けて気が動転してるだけなんですのよ。
You're just in shock at Coach's suicide. You're really upset.
今日はもう学校を休んでお家で休んだ方がよろしいと思いますわ。
I think you should stay home from school today and rest.
私はもう平気ですから。どうかご自分の体を大事になさいまし。
You'll be fine, so please take care of yourself. Sadako spoke like she understood me. She also told me to go home. I could see the revulsion in her face. I knew that she didn't want to be around me anymore.
さとこをちゃんと診療所まで見送ったら俺も帰る。
Once I show her to the clinic, I'll go home.
さとこだってまだ足元がフラフラじゃないか。
Your legs are still shaking, aren't they?
途中で倒れたら大変だぞ。
It'd be terrible if you collapsed halfway there.
私はもう本当に大丈夫なんですのよ。
Really, I am fine now.
男の人にいつまでもこんな姿を晒していたくないんですのよ。
I do not want to keep exposing myself to a man any more than this. Keiichi, why can't you keep your mouth shut, man? She wobbled up the shrine steps, looking like she was about to fall. I immediately ran up to her and helped her stay on her feet. But then Sadako promptly jumped away from me. That outright rejection hurt a lot. Once she got to the top of the stairs, her breathing was ragged, and she wasn't even looking at me. At this point, I was being ignored. Well, it was more like she didn't want to have anything to do with me. It really was a feeling of rejection. And that hurt my heart more than any blade could have. this is the path I chose for her sake. To be treated like this at the end of it all was just so saddening. Don't be naive, Keiichi Maibara. You never wanted to be repaid in the first place. You didn't do it so that Sadako would thank you. You did it so Sadako would be happy. And that was what led to this ending. Rika-chan's house was a disaster prevention storehouse used by the town council. If you went past it a little further through the shrine grounds, you'd apparently reach the back of the assembly hall. Sadako was heading there, walking quickly, the gravel under her feet crunching as she went. Did she want to get there as fast as possible? Did she want to run away? Couldn't tell. And then, I heard the vigorous sound of wings flapping. Turned around and saw a crow. I hadn't seen many crows since coming to Hinamizawa. Saw them a lot in my old town, though. On garbage day, they'd flock to trash collection points, peck through the bags with their beaks, drag out the contents, and have a feast. As I was remembering that, I saw a few crows flocking around the shrine's donation box. And I thought how terrible it was for someone to leave a garbage bag in a place like that. The cicadas quieted. Breathing stopped. Thoughts ceased. Even time came to a halt. I ran over to where the crows were flocking. I ran there in order to drive a horrible idea out of my mind. I definitely hadn't wanted this. There's no way I would ever wish for this even by mistake. This was not... See, as soon as it said something about a single crow, and we were in this place, I was like, oh. Oh. When they noticed my vicious approach, the crows all flapped upwards, fleeing into the sky. When the crows' big black bodies flew away, they exposed the garbage bag. What had I seen there? The scream had escaped from my throat before I understood what I was looking at. What was this? Sadako came over as well, realizing something had happened. She looked over my shoulder, and she screamed as well. This wasn't... The garbage bag was crimson, dyed in fresh blood. Enough of this stupid roundabout way of saying it. That's right, yes. Yes! It was Rika-chan. Friend. Sadako's best friend. Always easygoing, clever as a cat, but so cute you couldn't hate her. Our friend, Rika-chan, she was... Rika-chan was stark naked. She was face up, limbs sprawled. Her eyes were like glass, just staring up into the sky. And...
Rika!
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 Rika! What the fuck happened? I didn't wish for this! Sadako broke down crying on the spot. And yet, she still couldn't approach her friend's remains. The crows had gotten through the garbage bag and dragged... Well, they dragged an apple peel and spread it all over. No. No, crows. They couldn't do this. On the spot, I started vomiting. Sour taste became a bitter one as I threw up over and over again. Rika-chan, she, her stomach was cut wide open, vertically, completely open. Pros couldn't have done this. From her open stomach. Her organs, her bowels were dragged out like children's toys left all over the floor. That unbelievable sight induced oxygen deprivation in my brain. Color left my vision, a pounding headache, dizzy, and I wanted to vomit. It was like the nightmarish remains of a ceremonial killing. Someone somewhere had killed Rika-chan, brought her here, laid her here with her limbs sprawled out, and then opened her stomach and dragged out her intestines. Red and pink viscera were sticking out of her gut, and her intestines were scattered in every direction like it had been for fun. The entire ground was covered in an ocean of red and black. I viewed the crows that hopped around inside that ocean. They walked through the sea of blood, leaving bloody footprints. And those footprints, there were several still left on Rika-chan's body. Those sinister prints made it seem even more like a bizarre ritual killing. I may have wished for Takano-san and Coach Higurashi to die, but I didn't remember ever wishing for Rika-chan's death.
そうさ、俺じゃない。俺じゃない。
Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
俺じゃない。
It wasn't me. I stumbled backwards and stepped on a newspaper. Newspaper? In a place like this? The newspaper was what was covering my hatchet. I kept it wrapped up and on my belt in order to carry Sadako. That newspaper had fallen off. Sheesh, don't scare me like that. I bent down to pick it up, and then Sadako looked at me with such disbelief as I'd never seen. He froze. He was looking straight at me, at the hatchet, on my belt.
Oh, 落ち着け、貞子。
Oh, calm down, Sadako.
これは違うぞ。
This isn't what it looks like. Sadako, trembling madly, backed away.
俺じゃない。
It wasn't me.
俺じゃないんだ。
It wasn't me.
俺じゃ。
It wasn't.
人殺し。
Murderer. She didn't care at all that she was exposing herself through the towel. She just trembled and tried to step back from the demon in front of her.
貞子、落ち着いてくれ。
Sadako, please, calm down.
頼むから。
Please,
冷静に
relax.
なってくれ。
Sadako. No, no! Screaming weakly, Sadako began to run unsteadily. Run away, that is.
待ってくれ、貞子。
Wait! Please wait, Sadako!
違うんだ。
You're wrong!
違うんだ。
It's not it! The way she ran away, it was so weak, so slow. So if I wanted to go after her, I could have caught up. But if I tried to grab Sadako's shoulder or something right now, she might actually go crazy. So I had to follow her and try to clear this up.
高野さんを殺して、
Kill Takano-san
監督を殺して、
and Coach
大石さんも殺したんでございましょう。
and Uishi-san, didn't you?
おじさまを殺そうとして、リカまで。リカまで。
Killed my uncle. And then you killed Rika.
人殺し。
You murderer! No,
俺じゃない
it wasn't me.
俺は殺してなんかいない
I didn't kill her.
何を言ってるんですの？
You're saying
あなたさっき自分で言ったじゃありませんの。
you just said it yourself, did you not?
死ねって。死んでしまえって。
You wanted them to die,
それでみんな死んでしまったんでしょ？
and then everyone died, didn't they?
俺はその
No,
死ねって思っただけで別に
just wishing that they were dead. That couldn't.
自分で何をしたか記憶に残っていないんでございましょう。
You don't even remember what you did, do you?
そんな人の話なんか信用できるわけありませんわ。
How can I trust a person like you?
人を殺した時の記憶が欠落してるだけなんじゃありませんの？
And your memory of killing them just slipped your mind?
いや、記憶がないふりをしてるだけなんじゃありませんの？
No, maybe you're only pretending not to remember.
第一、そのナタは何なんですのよ。
Besides, what is that hatchet for?
説明してごらんなさいな。
Try explaining that.
これは
It's for.
ほらほらほら、
See?
ケイイチさんは殺人鬼じゃありませんの。
Keiichi-san, you are a killer, aren't you?
どうしてですの？
Why did you do it?
ちょっと意地悪だったけど楽しくて優しい。一度は本当のニーニーかもしれないとまで思ったのに。
You were a little mean, but you were fun and kind, and once I even thought you might be my real Nini.
どうしてそんな風になってしまったんですの？
Why did you turn into this? I might have been able to slowly answer each of Sadako's questions at a time, but in this situation, explaining my innocence in such a short period of time was impossible. I mean, I didn't even know if I was really innocent anyway. At the very least, I killed Sadako's uncle. There was no body, but I killed him. Without a doubt. At that point, I was far from innocent. And I wished Takano-san, Coach, and Oishi were dead. That curse of mine was granted. When I wished for Takano-san to die, I didn't think of it as anything more than a normal thing you'd say to someone you didn't like. But then she actually did die. And I realized that if I wanted people to die, they would. And hoping it would happen again, I cursed Coach and Oishi to the same fate. So, even ignoring Takano-san's death, Coach's and Oishi's were completely premeditated crimes. Was I a killer, just like Sadako said? Was I unable to distinguish between illusion and reality? Turned into a demon without remembering it? Becoming a killer who carried out Oyashiro-sama's curse? No, that couldn't be. It was impossible. Damn it. The very word impossible was impossible in Hinamizawa right now. How many freaking times have I said that word these past 3 days? Sadako had started crying again and was walking unsteadily. At first it felt like she was still running, but now it was like she was walking away from crying from someone bullying her.
どうして
Why?
どうしてこんなことになってしまったんですの？
Why did things turn out this way?
どうしてどうして
Why? Why? There was an answer to that, then I wanted to know it too. Why? Why had it turned out like this?
ニーニーがいなくなってずっと寂しかったけど
After Nini went away, I was lonely for a long time.
ケイイチさんが転校してきてくれてまたみんな明るくなって
Then Keiichi-san transferred to our school, and everyone was happy again.
楽しくなって毎日が光ってたのに
Everyone was happy again. It was fun again, and every day was beautiful. Yeah, she was right. Those days were bright and beautiful. And yet... After that, Sadako and I shouted the exact same thing.
どうしてこんなことに
How did it turn out like this? The cicadas were sneering at the spectacle, our strange game of tag. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Eventually, I heard the murmuring of a stream. The forest parted and a suspension bridge appeared. Sadako was crossing dangerously, wobbling as though she might fall at any moment. When I stepped onto the bridge, it swayed a lot, causing Sadako to stagger and fall on the spot.
大丈夫か貞子
Sadako, are you okay?
近寄らないで
Don't come near me!
人殺し
You murderer! Sadako shouted, her hatred made very clear. It was sad. If words could cut, then this warmth flowing from my eyes would have been blood for sure.
どうしてこうなってしまったんですの
Why did you turn out this way?
ケンイチさんのこと大好きだったのに
Keiichi-san, I really liked you. I wanted to go up to her and give her a hand, but the distance between us was uncrossable. If I got any closer, Sadako would start shouting again, and say things that would hurt me deeply again. So, I couldn't approach any closer than this.
貞子
Sadako,
俺にもなんでこうなったかわからないんだ
I don't know how things turned out like this either,
でもこれだけは言える
but I can say this.
リカちゃんを殺したのは俺じゃないんだ
I wasn't the one who killed Rika-chan.
それだけは絶対に
At least that is true.
いい加減なこと言わないでほしいですわ
Please stop being so absurd.
自分の記憶にも自信が持てない人が何を言ったってどう信じればいいって言うんですの
How do you expect me to believe anything someone who can't even rely on his own memories has to say? I tightened my hands into fists. This was mortifying. I wasn't crazy. Nimazawa was crazy ever since I wandered into it lost on that one night. This insane world where I was at the festival when I wasn't. The uncle I killed was alive. Death would come just by wishing for it. It was this world's fault. Anna and Rena started acting strangely. They were possessed by something too. Coach wouldn't believe anything I had to say. And even Sadako, who I should have protected, was yelling at me like this. Was the price for killing a man supposed to be this high? Was I really going to be forced to stay in such a bitter world? I did the right thing. At least I wanted to. So then, why? I hated it. Every time I asked why, the day Sadako and I enjoyed in peace went so wrong.
貞子信じてくれ
Sadako, please believe me.
俺は人殺しじゃない
Not a murderer.
ではそのナタは何なんですの
What is that hatchet for?
納得のいく説明はできまして
You give a convincing explanation for that?
このナタが怖いのか
Is this hatchet scaring you?
じゃあ捨てるよ
Okay, I'll throw it away.
それなら安心だろ
That's what you want, right? Sadako didn't nod, but she seemed to be in agreement with that proposition. I clumsily took the hatchet out of my belt, then dropped it over the side of the bridge into the stream below.
捨てたぞ
There, it's gone.
これで話を聞いてくれるな
Now, you listen to me, right?
武器を捨てたくらいで気を許すと思いまして
Think I'll let my guard down just because you got rid of your weapon?
ケイイチさんほどの方なら私を素手で絞め殺すなんて簡単でしょうに
Keiichi-san, you're strong. It'd be easy for you to strangle me with your bare hands. Like hell, I would never want to kill Sadako. You idiot.
じゃあどうしたらいい
What should I do?
両手を頭の上で組んだらいいか
Should I put my hands on my head?
そうですわね
Yes, why don't you?
両手を頭の上で組んで後ろを向いてくださいます
Please, put your hands on your head and face the other way. It was a cunning plan, much like the one she used during club activities. Putting my hands on my head and turning away would mean I couldn't attack Sadako very easily. I immediately acquiesced to her request, since it would make her feel better.
これでいいか
Is this alright?
俺の話を聞いてくれ。
Please listen to what I have to say. Sadako stood up, then carefully approached me from behind. And then, she actually came right up behind me. She was so close, and yet I was so sad that I wasn't allowed to turn around.
圭一さんが悪くないのはなんとなくうすうす分かっていましたわ。
I sort of think I understand that it isn't your fault, Keiichi-san.
え
Huh?
多分あなたは
Uh,
何か悪いものに乗り移られただけなんです。
I think probably you've just been possessed by something evil.
さっきまでは圭一さんが殺人鬼なんだと思ってたけど
Till
私
before,
分かりましたの。
I thought Keiichi-san was a killer. Now I know.
あなたの目を見ていたら
You're looking at your eyes. I could hear that Sadako was still crying. But her voice was gentle just the same.
圭一さんが人殺しなんかするわけがない。
Keiichi-san never kill anyone.
圭一さんの体を何か悪いものが乗っ取って悪事に駆り立てただけ。
Something simply possessed his body and made him do evil things. Was she speaking literally right now? Or was she trying to admonish me? I couldn't tell.
思えばひょっとすると
Come to think of it, maybe.
あの人たちも圭一さんと同じものに乗り移られていたのかもしれない。
Maybe they were possessed, just like Keiichi-san.
あの時は殺されるとしか思わなかったからそこまでは考えが及ばなかったけど
At the time, I was only thinking I would be killed, so I didn't think about it.
今ならわかる。
Now I understand.
あれは乗り移った何か悪いものの仕業だった。
That was the work of something evil that possessed you.
サトコ
Sadako?
何の話だ
What are you... It was less like she was talking to me. More like she was talking to herself. She was confessing at my back.
わかってるんですの。私
I understand, you know.
身に覚えがないわけじゃないんですのよ。
It isn't like I haven't experienced it myself. Sadako's voice started to become mixed with sobs. Her pained voice tore at my heart. But I didn't know what Sadako was talking about.
西宮殿の屋根によじ登ったことがありますの。
I climbed to the top of the ritual storehouse once.
何年も前のことですわ。
It was a few years ago. Once, when Sadako was playing hide-and-seek at the shrine grounds, she climbed onto the roof of the storehouse for ritual implements, which everyone said not to go near, and hid. Then, Sadako saw that she could get in through a window meant for ventilation. For Sadako, the word curse was plenty scary. She was more curious about what was inside the unknown storehouse. She removed the grating on the window, which was already hanging off, slid her small body into it, and climbed down inside. It was too dark to see much, but after descending, she realized just how high up she'd been. Despite the darkness, she could see a few things around her thanks to the faint light coming in from the air window. And to her disappointment, it was just a regular old storehouse. She tried to leave, but the door was locked up tight from the outside, and it was made to not open from within. She would have to go back out through the ventilation window she'd come in from. But the window was high on the wall, and there's no way she'd be able to climb back up. Sadako desperately tried not to cry, and racked her brain thinking of a way to get up there. There were a lot of birdcage-looking things hanging by chains from the ceiling. She took the hanging chains and strung them along the wall. If she climbed up the bundle of chains, she might be able to manage to climb up to the ventilation window. There was nothing else she could do, so she had to try. Try she did. It was dark and creepy. She didn't want to stay there forever. The more she thought about that, the more she panicked. She climbed the bundle of chains. Sadako could hear the clinks and clangs of everything creak under her weight. And then, just as her hand reached the window, one of the metal fixtures she used to stick the chains on the wall flew off, and the chains all began to pull loudly and furiously every which way. Spurred on by the sounds behind her, she managed to get back onto the roof from the window. Because of the weight of the flailing bundle of chains, the other fixtures broke. And then one of the big bird cages hanging from the ceiling fell to the floor with a huge noise. Under it was an image of Oyashiro-sama, his vessel, and the cage took off one of the arms, trapped some other implements beneath it. It didn't take very long for her to grow scared of what she'd done. The deafening noise could be heard from the rest of the shrine grounds. A few other children heard it and gathered around. Of course, Rika was one of them. Then Rika's father, the shrine's priest, with an angry look, ran over. And then, as for what happened next, it was painful to remember. The only one who knew where Rika's parents kept the key to the ritual storehouse was Rika. So he scolded her, saying that this happened because Rika pulled a prank and hid me in here. He was very angry and menacing. Just looking at him was enough to frighten anyone. He exposed Rika's back, took a strangely shaped ritual cane or something, and struck her with it several times. Rika's words at the time, "Wasn't me. Wasn't me. Sorry, I'm sorry." Pitiful voice. I still can't get it out of my head. I should have said it was me. I should have said so. Saved my best friend from that false accusation, without being afraid of Rika's father's terrible temper. Rika gritted her teeth and cried at the crime she didn't remember doing. Ever since then, the world had been strange.
わかってるんですの、私には。
I know, I understand.
これは、お社様のたたりだって。
This is Oyashiro-sama's curse.
あの時、最後伝を怪我して、親友を見捨てた私への天罰だって。
His judgment for messing up the ritual storehouse and forsaking my best friend.
お社様のたたり。
Oyashiro-sama's curse.
父も母も、濁流に消えた。
My father and mother, too. They vanished in that muddy stream.
意地悪だったおばも死んだけど、誰よりも私を可愛がってくれたニーニーも、私を捨てて、家出してしまった。
My mean aunt died, too. And Nini, who loved me more than anyone, ran away from home.
そして、
Then,
そして、圭一さんが転校してきて、やっと楽しい毎日が戻ってきたと思ったのに、今度は圭一さんが取りつかれて。
Keiichi-san transferred in, and I thought I'd finally gotten my fun life back. But this time, Keiichi-san was possessed.
しかも、殺されて。
And even Rika got killed.
聞いたの私。
Something I heard once.
お社様は、本当にたたりをなすときは、 本人をすぐに殺さないんだって。
Uyashiro-sama, when he really curses someone, he doesn't kill them right away.
親しい人から順に殺して、みんな殺してから最後に殺すんだって。
He goes in order of your closest friends, and after killing them all, kills that person last.
だから圭一さんもタタリにやられて。
So, Keiichi-san, curse got you too.
きっと今度はレナさんやミオンさんがたたられてしまうんですわ。
I'm sure that Rena-san and Mion-san will be cursed next.
そして殺したり殺されたり。
And then they'll kill and be killed.
もう
No, no more.
落ち着けよ、サトコ。
Calm down, Sadako.
たたりなんかない。
There is no curse.
誰もお前をいじめたりなんかしないって。
Nobody's trying to torment you. When I turned around, I was thrust away with amazing force. Given my hands were awkwardly placed on my head, I couldn't take the fall and lost my balance. And I'd been pushed not into the bridge, but to the side. Towards the stream. No, this can't be happening. As one last miracle, I was allowed to grab a cord hanging from the bridge. Far below me was the stream. We were pretty high up. Below were rocks of all sizes. If I fell, it clearly wouldn't be pretty. The entire bridge was tilting under my body weight. My frail little grip probably wouldn't last another minute before my fingers had to let go.
サトコ、
Sadako!
サトコ。
Sadako! I didn't understand myself, what I meant by shouting her name then. Was I asking her to save me? Or was I asking her why she did this? Finally, everything came back into focus, and I saw Sadako. I was surprised. What an odd expression she had. It was the first time I'd seen it. It was an expression of righteous anger, meant only for those who needed to die.
死んじゃう人らしい。
Die, you murderer!
返してよ。
Give him back!
ニーニーを返してよ。
Give back my Nini!
リカやお母さんも圭一さんを返してよ。
Give back Rika and Mommy! And Keiichi-san! As she screamed, she jerked the bridge to and fro. She didn't have to do that. I was going to fall anyway.
私はお前なんかには負けないんですのよ。
I won't lose to the likes of you.
タタリなんかに負けてたまるもんですか。
I won't lose to some stupid curse.
お前になんか絶対に負けない。
I will never, ever lose to you.
みんなを奪ったお前に絶対に負けたりなんかしない。
You took everyone. I will never lose to you, not ever.
サトコ、
Sadako,
これだけは聞いてくれ。
please just let me say one thing. I don't know what my face looked like at the time, but it seemed like it was enough to quell Sadako's agitation.
俺のしたことは確かに褒められるものじゃない。
I know that what I did isn't exactly praiseworthy.
いや、いけないことだったかもしれない。
No. In fact, maybe I should never have done it at all.
だけど、お前に幸せになってほしくってしたことだったんだ。
I did it because I wanted you to be happy.
それだけは信じてくれ。
Please, just believe that.
こいつ
You,
最後の最後で圭一さんのふりを。
very end, you're still pretending to be Keiichi-san. Sadako didn't seem to have any more desire to listen to what I had to say. For that to happen at the very end like this was tragic.
お前に褒められたくてやったわけじゃなかった。
I didn't do it, any of it, so you would praise me.
お前に 幸せになってさえもらえればよかった。
It made you happy. That was all that mattered.
俺たちはダメなんだ。
We were
お
nothing.
前が笑っていないとダメなんだ。
Without your smile, we were nothing.
だから俺が消えたら笑ってくれ。
So, after I disappear, please smile.
俺が死ぬことで新しい生活を迎えたならきっと笑ってくれ。
If you can get on with your new life by my dying, please just smile.
それだけ約束してくれないか。
Can't you at least promise me that?
喋るな。
Stop speaking!
ケイチさんの口調で喋るな。
Don't use Keiichi-san's mouth like that.
おじを
Fall down.
落ちてしま
Die! I'm going to die? And those were the last words Sadako ever said to me. Those sad, tragic, and altogether unrewarding words. What on earth was I? My desire to make Sadako happy ended up like this. Where did I first go wrong? And what was the mistake I made? When did I make it? Was I the crazy one? Or was it Hinamizawa? Even after all of this, I thought I wasn't crazy at all. It was this eerie world that was crazy. This world I'd accidentally wandered into that one night. Because that fun world, where I never doubted all the crazy times we had as a club would go on forever, couldn't have possibly have transformed into such an abnormal world. That fun world wouldn't have ever ended with this. Sadako pushing me to my death. In the end, I was going to be swallowed up by this crazy world. Disappear. No. Probably already disappeared. Yes, probably. On the night of the Watanagashi. I'm sure that in the world I really belonged to, I'd vanished that night, and everyone was worried. It was laughable. But I'd taken this long to figure out I wasn't around anymore. Oishiro-sama's curse on the 5th year. Sadako's uncle dying and me disappearing. In the real world, Sadako had already been freed. Maybe my friends were all lamenting my disappearance, and valiantly trying to get back on their feet. And even though they were down to 4 people, the club would reopen, and they'd have a good time without me. Waiting for the day when I would come back. Sorry, everyone. I couldn't come back home. But this is what I wished for. It was my wish for Sadako's smile, and my duty as her Nini. At this point, there would be nobody left to torture you. Because Satoshi and I took 2 years, but we succeeded. That annoying toothy smile of yours. We wanted to see it one more time. My pain wasn't gentle or merciful. It was a sharp pain, violent, powerful, and ruthless. What little compassion I had receded in the span of a moment. Now, I could die. I could say goodbye to this insane world. Farewell, crazed Hinamizawa. Thanks for giving me the psychic power to kill people whenever I wanted. If you still allow it, I'll wish for one last thing. The death of this very world, this crazed Hinamizawa, so that nobody would ever again have to find themselves lost here again. Man, I feel like we've been reading for a while. Oh, okay. Now, believe it or not, there's just one little section left. Okay. Let's view this new tip. Research notes. Oyashiro-sama. Nobody really knows what characters to use to write Oyashiro-sama. Knowing this is hard, partly because depending on the time period, he has been called with various titles, with subtle changes to his name, and nobody knows the real one. The only thing all times period agree on is that the four syllables Oya, Shi, and Ro are always used. There's a theory stating the shrine, or Yashiro, dedicated to Oyashiro-sama itself, became an object of worship. And the people began calling it O Yashiro-sama, or Lord Honorable Shrine. This doesn't make a bit of sense. I don't know whether this is related, but people say the Furude family, the most respected bloodline in terms of worshipping Oyashiro-sama, actually inherited his blood. And then the legend of the Furude family passes down. If for 8 generations in a row the firstborn child is a girl, the 8th daughter will be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. If we go by this legend, the character used for Oyashiro-sama's name should be O for honorable, Ya for 8, and Shiro for generation. These character assignments are simply something I've thought up. There is no way to verify it. If this is true, then Oyashiro-sama would have been named as such under the assumption he would come again. The second coming of an object of worship can be seen in several religions, so this isn't unusual. But a few of these religions call the second coming of their object of worship a day of judgment, or something along those lines, and we must not forget they mean it to be the end of the world. Rika Furude, pampered and loved dearly by the elderly folk in the village. Rumors say she is the 8th generation, and Oyashiro-sama. I do not know the family tree of the Furudes, but at the very least I can confirm that for the past 2 generations the first child has been a girl. Rika Furude watches over Hinamizawa. If the village were to lose her protection, what would happen? Would peace between man and demon be lost? Would it once again create a hellish landscape where man-eating demons run rampant? A gruesome feast of the demons, who suddenly remembered how delicious the weak humans were, who could only cry, scream, and run for their lives. What would that look like? Just imagining it is enough to make my heart pound with excitement. Takano, you are a freak. So Rika could be Oyashiro! That's a cool tidbit. That probably is not great. I have to throw that possible legend into the web of things we know. My head was pounding. The sky was bright. It was cold, too. It hurt. Each sensation I felt led to a new and different one awakening. When I came to, I was lying face first on a dry riverbed. A few body parts hurt a lot. The skin over a bunch of my joints was torn, turned blue or red or oozing blood. I could tell it was my bones that were in pain from the agony I felt whenever I moved. I looked up and saw how high the bridge from which I had fallen was. Considering I dropped from there, it was a miracle that I could open my eyes again. Right next to me was a broken, upside-down car seat, which I guess some pranksters had brought here. Maybe this thing had been conveniently lying right under me, allowing me to escape instant death. Miraculous. Of course, I didn't know whether this miracle was fortunate or unfortunate. I'd failed to die, and I was still stuck in this insane world. How long had I been unconscious for? The sun was high in the sky, so it looked like only 1 or 2 hours had passed. But my body's sluggishness didn't make it feel at all like so short a time had gone by. Mentally, I felt like I'd been asleep here for a decade.
言ってて。
Ow. The more feeling returned to my body, the more pain flooded in. It hurt so much it would have been better not to have woken up. I needed to get to a doctor. Yeah, to Coach's clinic. The term Coach's clinic brought memories back one after another. Memories I wish I hadn't recalled. Sadako was no longer on the bridge. She would have returned to Hinamizawa by now. And she would put on some clothes, go to the clinic, get a checkup, and report on how crazy I had seemed. The police were waiting for me without a doubt. This time, would they find out for real that I'd killed her uncle and arrest me? Or would they just send me to a mental institution like I thought they might? Still, I didn't care which it was. Please, someone stop all this pain. You can boil me or cook me after that, whatever you want. They began to walk unsteadily, just limping along. I went downstream, and then through an animal trail-like path in the woods. I walked haphazardly, searching for a path I knew. Eventually, I finally came across a familiar road, and set off towards the clinic. Not to my house, but to the clinic, which had treated me like a lunatic. It was hot and humid. There was no wind, and the air was stagnant. For a while now, I've been smelling the terrible stench of burned eggs. It made my face scrunch up. And then, at last, I noticed something. I couldn't hear any cicadas. It was the first time I'd heard Himizawa be so utterly silent. When I thought back, it seemed like birds always chirped in the morning, cicadas always cried loudly in the afternoon, and Higurashi always rose up in chorus in the evening. Always something to hear. Couldn't hear a single insect. The only thing I could hear was the rustling of the wind brushing the treetops. I'd never experienced this sort of quiet before. Even the only sound coming from the trees lacked life somehow. The trees were yellow and many leaves were spread on the ground, despite it being too early for autumn. Even the weeds that had been growing so persistently at the side of the road had yellowed, browned, and lost their vigor. Is everything dying? Because I wished it? Only the sunlight itself was of the June Hinamizawa I knew. Yet it seemed like the seasons had switched all of a sudden. Looking at the fallen leaves and rotting weeds led me to spot a few small insects turned on their backs. They weren't moving. They were corpses. I looked closer to see insect corpses scattered all around, like a child had collected them as samples and then strewn them about. The stench. What was it? It was terrible. Burned eggs. I'm in hell! I'm in hell! Combined with the bug corpses and leaves falling from the trees in summer. Someone sprayed herbicides or pesticides around here? Even at school, we apparently fumigate. They call it pest disinfection or something once or twice a year. I hadn't run into anybody, despite how bright it was outside. It was mid-afternoon, and it felt like I was sauntering about at midnight. Well, with this smell, nobody would want to be walking around outside. Just what was this, anyway? There was no sound, no noise, not even a breath. Hinamizawa was silent. The school would come into view right after turning this corner. And yet I couldn't hear any commotion at all. None of the shouts or grunts that children always made. It was simply quiet. Just as pretending to ignore the silence had grown intolerable, I saw the school. Finally, I heard something. It was the sound of a few trucks. There were a few very tall trucks parked in the schoolyard, idling. About 10 workers in raincoats were unloading things from their trunks. It was hot and humid even in my casual clothing. Imagine how unbearable that must have been. Then I remembered. Our school was rented from the Forest Service field office building, wasn't it? Wasn't strange at all for Forest Service trucks to be doing some kind of work in the schoolyard. Besides, what did forest rangers do anyway? I felt bad for them having to work in such heat. There was such a stench about. They were taking colorful cargo out of the truck and lining it up in the schoolyard. They were containers, fairly large ones. Inside, multicolored patchwork bags. Heavy, too. They were being carried in pairs. They lined them up very neatly, like tuna at a riverside fish market. Several dozens, hundreds of tuna were completely filling the fairly wide schoolyard up. I forgot my pain for a little while, captivated by this big forest ranger job I'd never seen before. As I stood there watching in a daze, the people in raincoats working on the other side noticed me. One of them pointed me out and they shouted a few things back and forth. I thought they might yell at me for getting in their way, so I decided to leave post-haste. But then 2 trucks drove up behind me. I stepped aside and they entered the schoolyard. Sheets covered their trunks, but I could tell they were completely full. As they passed, there was an awful smell that made me want to choke. It wasn't the same burned egg smell as before. An even worse one. Rotten crab meat. What on earth was it? It's corpses. It's a bunch of corpses. It's the whole town. Because we wished for this crazy Hinamizawa to die. I'd been enshrouded in one terrible stench after another all day. Then, certain white letters emblazoned on the side of the passing trucks caught my eye. Ground Self-Defense Forces. What? Self-Defense Forces? The Army? Why was the Army in the schoolyard?
おい君、
Hey, you!
どこから入ってきた？
Where did you come from? Suddenly, someone slapped me on the shoulders from behind. I turned around, and a canopied SDF jeep was parked there. The SDF person had on a green raincoat and a gas mask like in the movies, carrying a compressed air cylinder. It didn't look normal. There wasn't an inch of exposed skin anywhere.
どこから入ってきた？ててててて。
Where did I... Ow, ow! When I tried to talk, I stretched a wound on my head. It made the SDF people exchange glances. I couldn't see their faces through their masks, but they seemed surprised.
君はひなみ様の住民か？
Do you live in Hinamizawa?
住所と名前は言えるか？
Can you tell us your name and address?
一応 ここに住んでますけど、
Well, yeah, I sort of live here.
名前は前原圭一です。
My name is Keiichi Maibara,
あ、住所は獅子骨市ひなみ沢村。
and my address, blank, Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. After seeing me tell them my name and address without hesitation, one of the SDF people watching from the jeep started talking into a radio.
本部、応答願います。
Base, do you read?
本部、応答願います。
Base, do you read?
402生存者発見。
We have a 402, survivor discovered.
繰り返す。402生存者発見。
I repeat, we have a 402, we found a survivor.
場所は営林署入り口前。
He's in front of the Forest Service office. This is base, we copy. Secure the survivor at once. What is his status?
生存者は健在。
Healthy.
全身に外傷を認められるも生命に支障なし。
Wounded all over, but not fatally.
自立歩行可能。
He can walk on his own.
これより保護し本部へ送致します。
Summoned HQ for safety. I was prepared to go along with the police. The SDF. I couldn't help but think it seemed a little bit much. They urged me into the back of the Jeep. And then they told me to put on this gigantic gas mask. I did so, and one of the troops fiddled around with it, strapping it tightly to me. It was heavy, hard to see out of, hot, and difficult to breathe. Just looking at the world through the lenses made it lose its sense of reality. My breathing sounded like some giant monster through the mask. At this point, I had no idea what was happening. With much trepidation, I asked the trooper adjusting my mask.
すみません。
Excuse me,
何かあったんですか？
has something happened?
君はどこにいたんだ？
Where were you?
何をしていたんだ？
What were you doing? Hey, don't answer our question with more questions. I was the one asking you.
ずっと山に入ったところにある吊り橋から落っこちて、
I, fell from a rope bridge way back in the mountains.
河原で多分気絶してました。
I think I passed out on the riverbed.
今日が何曜日かもよくわからないです。
I don't actually know what day it is.
今日は昭和58年の6月22日
Today's June 22nd, 1983.
水曜日だ。
Wednesday. That surprised me. Sadako pushed me off the bridge on Tuesday the 21st. That meant I'd been asleep on that riverbed for an entire day.
改めて聞きますけど、何があったんですか？
Forgive me for asking again, but did something happen?
なんで自衛隊が来てるんです？
Why is the SDF here?
何かの訓練ですか？
Is this a drill? Had my question been that difficult for him? None of the troopers would answer me. The one in the driver's seat talking on his own radio turned on the vehicles. He turned the dial and some broadcast station or another came in. I started to listen to the voice of a radio announcer I was familiar with.
より首相官邸で行われました。記者団からの自衛隊の災害出動が迅速に行われなかったことが前例のない未曾有の大災害に直結したのではないかとの質問に対し、奥野官房長官は次のようにコメントしました。
It was conducted at the Prime Minister's office. In regards to questions from the press that the SDF not responding to the disaster promptly was directly related to this unprecedented, unheard of catastrophe, Chief Cabinet Secretary Okuno had this to say.
でありまして、県知事からの派遣要請を受けて迅速に対応したものと思っております。
And so, I believe that once the SDF received the dispatch order from the prefectural governor, they responded promptly.
と、このように述べ、要請を受けてからの自衛隊の出動は迅速であった。むしろ、県側の事態把握に遅れがあった可能性を示唆しました。
According to him, the SDF was prompt to responding to the crisis after receiving their orders. He implied that it was the prefecture's responsibility for taking too long to comprehend the situation.
そもそも、自衛隊の派遣を要請した県知事は、災害発生から前例のない大災害であることをいつ認識できたのか。そして、災害派遣要請までに、いわゆるお役所的なロスタイムが生じ、被害の拡大を招いたのではないか。今後の究明が待たれています。
When did the governor who requested the SDF's dispatch actually become aware of the outbreak of such an unprecedented catastrophe? And did he not invite further damage because of the time lost before he sent the request for disaster relief? In other words, because of the bureaucracy? We're waiting further investigation into the matter.
首相官邸より報道部の尾形記者がお送りしました。さて、ここでもう一度災害発生からの行政の対応を振り返ります。
That was Mr. Okada reporting from the Prime Minister's official residence. At this point, we can take another look at the political response following this disaster. In the middle of the night, between June 21st and June 22nd, a large-scale disaster broke out in Hinamizawa village, Shishibone. The details have not yet been investigated, but there's an eruption of volcanic gas from somewhere in the Hinamizawa area. The gas was relatively heavy, and as it spewed out, it began to flow. That flow went down along a small river and headed directly into Hinamizawa village. After a few hours, it had covered the entire region. It happened in the middle of the night, 2 to 4 a.m. Every home and household in the village was afflicted. With most of the residents asleep, it is thought that all died without noticing the crisis. The catastrophe striking in the middle of the night caused its detection to come too late. There was still one small opportunity to have noticed it. 3 a.m. A news dealer's shop in Okinomiya sent a vehicle carrying the morning newspaper to its branch office in Himizawa. Usually the shop would be contacted upon the vehicle's arrival, but this morning that didn't happen. The news dealer's shop made repeated calls but got no response. The shopkeeper sent his eldest son to check on things, but they lost contact with him as well.
非常に悔やまれています。この時点で警察か消防への連絡があったなら、事態はもっと改善されていた可能性が高いでしょう。少なくとも村全滅という惨劇は免れた可能性があります。
It's extremely regrettable. If they had contacted the police or fire department at this point, it is highly possible the situation would have turned out more positively. At the very least, it's possible that a portion of the village may have been saved from tragic annihilation. 6 a.m. Residents in areas in the same region began continuously calling 119 to report the smell of rotten eggs, dizziness, nausea, and headaches. The fire department received the same reports, all from the same confined region. They speculated a truck loaded with chemicals may have gotten into an accident and reported it to the local police. 6:30 a.m. Contact was lost with a patrol car on duty in the Hinamizawa area after the officer reported the smell of rotten eggs. The local police considered the possibility of a large-scale disaster involving highly lethal gas and reported it to the prefecture and prefectural police at 7:15 a.m. 8 a.m. The governor was traveling to nearby prefectures for inspection, so in accordance with regulations, the prefectural environmental disaster prevention chief was provisionally escalated to Director General and set up a disaster countermeasures office. However, without contacting the governor, the countermeasures came too late.
近年市民団体によって指摘されていますが、議員待遇者との視察旅行は完全に親睦を目的にしたもので、主演三昧だと噂されています。
As has recently been pointed out by citizens groups, his trip with honorary Diet members to inspect other prefectures was based solely on good relations, and it's rumored they preoccupied themselves with a drinking party.
近い筋の話では、知事は徹夜で飲んだくれて、泥酔状態で就寝していたそうです。環境部長から電話があった時も泥酔していて、全く取り合ってもらえなかったのだそうです。
Sources close to him claimed the governor had been drinking all night and had gone to sleep in a drunken state. He was completely drunk when the environmental chief phoned him as well, and apparently he could not get him to pay any attention to the matter. And so the authorities, in the hour or so it took for the governor to grasp the situation and sober up, did nothing but accumulate information.
知事は言うに及びませんが、知事不在時には本部長を務めることになる環境部長にも 怠慢の責任が問われるでしょう。また県としても大災害を想定したマニュアルが用意されておらず、対応が常に後手に回ってしまったのが致命的でした。
Though not as extreme as the governor's case, the environmental chief who became director general in the governor's absence will likely also be questioned about his negligence. In addition, without any procedures in place on the prefecture's side that predicted catastrophes this massive, they would always react too late, and that ended up being fatal. 9:12 a.m. On the advice of the prefectural police, the governor requested a disaster relief mission from the SDF. By the time the Chemical Defense Unit, equipped with protective equipment, arrived on the scene, 8 hours already passed since the incident's outbreak.
とにかく深夜の就寝中というのが不運でした。同じ災害でも日中に起こっていれば全く違ったでしょう。
Whatever the case may be, it was unfortunate this happened while everyone was sleeping in the middle of the night. If the same disaster occurred during the day, it likely would have been entirely different. All households in the Higurashi village region were wiped out. There were over 1,000 victims. The SDF is still confirming the situation on the ground, but the results are predicted to only increase that number.
スタジオにはゲストとして火山性の災害にお詳しい地学博士の藤原先生にお越しいただいております。先生、このような恐ろしい6月が突然湧き出すようなことはあるのでしょうか。
Here with us in the studio today is Dr. Fujiwara, a professor at Blank University who is well acquainted with volcanic disasters. Doctor, can such a sudden and horrible outburst of poisonous gas actually happen?
火口部に限定して申し上げれば、決して珍しいことではありません。
It isn't at all unusual for this to happen right around craters, at least.
火山大国日本にはたくさんの活火山がありますが、それらの火口部はいずれも危険なガスの噴出する危険性があり、一般登山者も火口部周辺には立ち入らないのが一般的です。
Japan is a volcanic nation, and so has many active volcanoes. There's always a danger of hazardous gas around any of these craters, and it's generally a rule among mountain climbers not to go near them.
では今回、ひなみ沢村を襲った卵のフラン臭のするガスというのも火口部では一般的なガスということですか？
Does this mean the rotten egg smell that visited Himizawa village was the normal sort of gas from volcanic craters?
卵のフラン臭という特徴から、おそらく火山ガスの中でも事故例の多い硫化水素によるものだと考えられます。高い濃度であれば非常に危険なものです。
Judging by how it smelled like rotten eggs, we think it was hydrogen sulfide. The gas seen particularly frequently in accidents compared to other volcanic gases. If it's dense, it becomes extremely dangerous.
ひなみ沢村は火山の火口部とは全く縁遠い場所にあるわけですが、そういった火口部でない場所にもその硫化水素が発生することがあるのでしょうか。
Hinamizawa village is very far away from the craters of any volcanoes. Can hydrogen sulfide be generated even from a place not close to a crater?
詳しいことが分かっていないので、まだはっきりとしたことは申し上げられませんが、外国の例で温泉の地下のマグマだまりからガスが噴出したという記録があります。極めて希少な例ですが、必ずしも火口部でなくても発生の可能性はあるということです。
I don't know all the details, so I can't say anything concrete. But in other countries, there are records of gas eruptions due to magma buildup under hot springs. It's an extremely rare event, but it is possible for such a thing to happen even in a region not near craters.
先生、ありがとうございました。今、防衛庁から発表があった模様です。防衛庁の森川さん。
Thank you very much, Doctor. We appear to have an announcement from the Japan Defense Agency. Miss Morikawa, are you there?
はい、防衛庁です。先ほど防衛庁はひなみ沢村ガス災害の主原因となった火山性ガスについて、陸上自衛隊科学学校での分析の結果、二酸化炭素と硫化水素の混合ガスによるものだったと発表しました。
Yes, I'm at the Japan Defense Agency. The agency has just made an announcement regarding the source of the Himizawa village gas disaster. Analysis from the Ground Self-Defense Forces Department of Chemistry has found that the gas was a mixture of carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide.
森川さん、そのガスは依然として噴出を続け、周囲に拡大しているのでしょうか？
Ms. Morikawa, do you know whether the gas is still erupting or spreading to nearby areas?
現在、ひなみ沢村で救助活動に入っている自衛隊第9師団の報告として、 ガスの濃度は徐々に薄まりつつある。これ以上の被害の拡大はないと発表しました。
According to the SDF's 9th Division, who are currently engaged in a rescue operation at Himizawa Village, the gas density is steadily decreasing. They've announced that the damage will not spread.
ですが依然、ひなみ沢村地区は危険な状態にあることには変わりなく、今後も注意深く監視を続ける必要があるようです。
However, it does not change the fact that surrounding areas are still in danger, and that very strict observation must be maintained.
防衛庁から報道部の森川記者がお伝えしました。続きまして、避難を余儀なくされている沖宮地区住民の模様をリポートします。現在、避難所の一つとなっている下篠崎小学校に報道部の現地記者がお伝えいたします。
That was Morikawa from the Japan Defense Agency. And now we have a report on the state of those who have been made to evacuate the Okinomiya area. Shimoshinozaki Elementary School is one of the evacuation sites, and we currently have a reporter on scene.
何ですかそれ。
Wait, what? Inside the jeep, clambering and bouncing along the rough road, none answered my muttered question. An unprecedented catastrophe had destroyed Hinamizawa in a single night? Where was Hinamizawa Village anyway? Someplace deep in the mountains, right? Names of places I'd heard about on the radio were always like that. They were all places I'd heard of, much less knew the locations of. Wiped out? What does that mean? Don't they usually say how many died and how many were injured? How many people were alive? Where did everyone evacuate to? Eventually, we came into view of Coach's clinic. For the first time, I saw the flag of Japan hanging on a pole outside. Japan's circular sun hung down as though exhausted. Many SDF tents are set up in the clinic's big parking lot. Many strict security vehicles are parked there as well. When they saw the jeep coming, men in white clothing and gas masks came running out of the clinic, frantic, carrying a stretcher.
もう大丈夫だよ。
You're gonna be alright.
具合は
How do you feel?
歩けるかい？
Can you walk?
歩けます。
Yes.
あ、痛い。
And because of my ows, they forced me to lay in the stretcher anyway. People who seemed like doctors were looking at me and notifying others of my condition via radio.
外傷多数。
Multiple wounds.
骨折もしくは内臓損傷の可能性大。
High possibility of fractures and internal damage.
頭部に大きな裂傷。
Large laceration in the head.
瞳孔正常。眼底に出血なくも脳内損傷の可能性は否定できず。
Pupils normal, but even without bleeding from the fundus, brain damage is still possible. And then, from the clinic entrance, people lying on stretchers were brought outside to replace me. Judging by their clothing, they were from Hinamizawa. That's how I knew they were victims. They brought the stretchers in front of a truck. Two troops, holding shoulders and legs like some kind of baggage, picked them up and threw them into the trunk. In the trunk of the truck, people's bodies piled in heaps. They were just like baggage. They told me they were already nothing but shells. At that moment, I remembered all those colorful sacks filling the trunks, and them lined up in the schoolyard like a fish market. Hundreds of empty shells. Corpses. Corpses, 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 corpses. Corpses, corpses, corpses. Corpses!
バカ!
You jackasses!
犠牲者を粗末に扱うな!
Don't just throw the victims in like that.
彼は村の住民だぞ.
He lived here. The troops carrying the sacks answered with a humble salute. The world didn't need this insane version of Hinamizawa. My final wish. Again. It was granted. I didn't understand anything anymore. None of it mattered. I wished, I cursed, and that it happened the next day. Then please, tomorrow morning, let me die. Insane night. It's still going on. Please end it already. Hey, he's lost consciousness. Shout his name. Quickly.
前原君
Abara-kun.
聞こえるかい
Can you hear me?
聞こえるなら瞬きでいいからしてくれ
You can hear me, just blink.
前原君
Abara-kun.
前原君
Abara-kun.
前原君
Abara-kun. Suddenly, the world didn't matter to me anymore. I wasn't interested in their cries. His breathing stopped. Get his respiratory tract open. Use CPR. Make him live. Damn it. No more. No more dead people. But he deserves to die. Don't kill him. Don't kill him. I could hear the voice of a man crying and screaming in my ears. Nobody deserves to die. Those words came from his heart. They were so commonplace, and they soaked into my heart too. Maybe it was a mistake to take someone's life, even if it was to save Sadako. If this is the price I had to pay, this horrible tragedy, this is a little much, Oyashiro-sama. Why did you never punish me? Come to think of it, Sadako said something. Oyashiro-sama's actual curse never goes for the target at first. It kills everyone they love before that. Oyashiro-sama's curse. It was a convenient excuse I told myself at the very end. It wasn't my curse that destroyed it, but Oyashiro-sama's. Given that I was in a stretcher, this next bit might have been obvious. Last of all, I realized one thing. Yeah. Today, I had not heard those footsteps following me. Even once. Now I was liberated. As the cries of the Higurashi I couldn't have been hearing filled my mind. Their tearful ensemble was the only funeral march I had. June 22nd, 1983, early morning. A widespread disaster occurred in Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone, Blank Prefecture. Volcanic gas, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide erupted from Onigafuchi Swamp, one of the Hinamizawa area's water sources, and spread through the whole entire village. There were 1,200 victims. 20 have gone missing. The catastrophe was unprecedented, forcing local governments to evacuate approximately 600,000 people. According to later investigations, magma pools and hot springs were uncovered directly under Onigafuchi Swamp. And the gas that gushed from it was determined to be the cause of the disaster. In addition, directly after the incident broke out, many came forth claiming this disaster was a curse based in Hinamizawa village legends, first sparking a wave of chaos. There were apparently local legends of a curse spreading a miasma and destroying the village. and some scholars believe a similar gas disaster may have happened in the past and remain part of these legends. More extreme periodicals suggested this was an extension of the string of freak death incidents that had been happening in recent years in Hinamizawa village, stirring interest in theories about this curse of Oyashiro-sama. In addition, relatives of those in Hinamizawa village who had escaped the disaster complained of sickness afterwards and were hospitalized. Some of them even died of unknown causes, further encouraging such extreme opinions. On top of that, several relatives professing to be possessed by Yoshiro-sama's curse committed suicide in strange ways. And the impact the disaster has had on the entire nation can no longer be ignored. Wild visions of terrible toxic gas sneaking around in the middle of the night killing people spilled across the country, causing a steady stream of people complaining of insomnia, difficulty breathing, headache, dizziness, etc. Some who identified themselves as being obsessed by it began doing odd things. Most of these were mistakenly attributed by the tabloid press. But afterwards, some even began to call the mental issues arising from the Hinamizawa tragedy the Hinamizawa syndrome. The Hinamizawa village region, the object of all kinds of rumors and speculation, is currently closed off, and even flying overhead is prohibited. The prohibition was at one point undone as a result of a decrease in the gas's density. But that autumn another gas burst was confirmed, leading to the area being cordoned off again. Word is that the area is sound asleep, all traces of its former life intact and left to rot. Only one survivor remains, Keiichi Maibara, age blank, who lived at blank Hinamizawa village. At the time of rescue, he had some trouble breathing due to fluid buildup in his lungs, but as a result of life-saving procedures, he was kept alive. He's currently in a general hospital somewhere in the prefecture. The press have been asking for him for some time, but all interviews are being refused. What did he see in Hinamizawa? What happened between June 21st and June 22nd in Hinamizawa village? Today he remains silent, unwilling to speak of it. Oh my god. This? What the fuck? Takano was strangled and then found burnt to a crisp. Uishi went missing. Katsuyo committed... What? Who? Eri committed suicide. Rika possibly murdered. Gassed. Rena Ryugu. Mihansu. Oryu Sonozaki. Sadako. Hojo. Oh, went missing. Teppei went missing. Ichiro. Apparently. Oh. Shion committed suicide. I attempted suicide. He's living his days in peace. Bullshit! Oh my god! I nearly burst into tears a couple times this stream. This was a lot. I nearly cried a couple times reading some of that. Oh my god. I feel like I'm in total shock right now. And I think once the stream ends and I like lay down in bed, I think I'm gonna cry. Like I think that's all that's holding me back is my pure shock. And once like I'm done with the stream and I've clicked the end stream button, I think I'm gonna cry. I mean, fuck! Fuck! 2003? What? That's when I was born. An elderly couple living in Osaka Prefecture discovered a cassette tape while organizing the possessions of their son, who passed away 8 years ago. Their son went missing when his fishing boat capsized in 1995. He was 47 at the time of his death. 8 years later, in 2003, they had begun to organize their son's remains in order to organize their minds, and came across the cassette tape in question. From 1975 to 1983, the deceased had experienced working as a journalist for a photography periodical, and this tape is thought to have been created during that time. The label on the tape read 11/28/1983, Keiichi Maibara. It is thought the tape was recorded during an interview with Keiichi Maibara, the only survivor of the Grey Hinamizawa disaster that occurred in June of 1983. As the only person who lived through the disaster on the night of June 21st, shrouded in mystery, many interested parties attempted to question him, but he never once spoke physically to anyone in a public place. Therefore, the tape caused quite a stir, possibly being of extremely high value. Click.
なんだか録音されてると思うと、すごく喋りにくいですね。
It's really hard to talk about stuff when I know I'm being recorded.
気にしない気にしない。
Please, don't worry about it.
ほら、こうすれば録音してるのも気にならないでしょ。
Here, it won't be a problem if I do this, right? After this, the sound quality dramatically decreases. Did he cover the recording device with something?
じゃあ始めるね。
Let's get started.
まず最初の質問から。
Here's my first question.
ケイチ君はあの大災害の夜どこにいたのかな？
Keiji-kun, where were you on the night of the great disaster?
神社から裏に抜けて、ずっと林道を進んで。
I had gone behind the shrine, then took a path through the woods for a while.
吊り橋があるんですよ。
There's a rope bridge there,
山に入る少し前に。
a little while before you get into the mountains.
そこから落ちて気を失ってました。
I fell from there and lost consciousness.
それは大災害の夜、つまり21日から22日にかけての深夜のこと？
This happened during the night of the disaster, between the 21st and the 22nd?
いいえ、
No.
21日の火曜日の朝です。
It was the morning of the 21st on Tuesday.
それで次の日の昼間に目を覚ましたわけですから、1日半はそこで気を失ってたと思います。
Which means I woke up the afternoon of the next day. I think I was out for a day and a half.
どうしてそんなところに？
Why on earth were you there?
誰もが持つ疑問だけど、当日は平日で、しかも落ちた橋は君の家と学校からは大きく離れているよね。
I mean, I'm sure everyone wants to know, but the bridge you fell from that day, a weekday I might add, was quite far from both your house and the school, wasn't it?
ざっくばらんに言って、君が大災害の発生を事前に知っていて、
Speaking frankly, there are some who say you knew of the great disaster beforehand.
村から逃げる途中に吊り橋から落ちたんじゃないかっていう声もあるんだけど。
And fell from the rope bridge as you were trying to flee the village.
冗談じゃないです。
This isn't a joke.
勝手なことを言わないでください。
Please don't be so arbitrary about this.
私も随分ひどい言い分だと思うよ。
I think it's a terrible thing to say too.
気を悪くしないでね。
Please don't be offended.
さて、次に圭一君が落ちたという吊り橋なんだけど、地図で言うとここだよね。
Anyway, about the rope bridge you fell from. It was right here on the map, right?
神社の裏から林道を抜けて至る吊り橋というのは、
The rope bridge beyond the back of the shrine and through the path in the woods.
多分、
Probably.
俺もあんまり行かないところなので。
I never went over there, so I can't say for sure.
そんなに行かないところに、どうして平日の朝に行ったのか、疑問は尽きないけどな。
I guess I just want to know why you're out somewhere you'd never been before on a weekday morning.
それで、この君が気絶していたという河原なんだけど、実はそれはありえないという噂は知っているかい？
And then, well, about the riverbed you fell unconscious on. Have you heard the rumors about that being impossible?
ありえない。
Possible.
また、ありえないですか。
That word again.
また、
Again.
まだ。
Again. For a little while, Keiichimabara mutters the word impossible several times.
どうして、ありえないと？
Why would it be impossible?
火山ガスが発生したのは鬼ヶ淵という沼なのは知ってるよね。
You know how the volcanic gas originated in the Onigafuchi swamp?
それで学者の先生が緻密な模型を使ってシミュレーションをしたら興味深いことが分かったんだってさ。
Some scholars did some pretty delicate simulations and modeling and discovered something very interesting.
例の火山ガスってのは空気よりも重いらしくて、
The volcanic gas was heavier than the air.
地形に沿って低いところへ低いところへ流れ込む水みたいな性質があるんだってさ。
So it went along the ground, flowing into lower and lower places, kind of like what water does.
それで発生源の鬼ヶ淵沼からそういうガスが噴出し、どれくらいの時間をかけて村を覆うのか実験がされたんだ。
And with Onigafuchi swamp as its source, they were able to test how much time it would take for the gas to erupt and spread across the whole village.
そしたらさ、
So, well,
君が気絶していたという河原、
that riverbed you were unconscious on,
流れ込むんだよガスが。
the gas, it would have flowed down there.
よく言ってる意味がわからないんですが。
I don't really understand what you're getting at.
つまり、君が本当にこの河原で気絶していたなら、君は丸一晩、猛毒の火山ガスの中にいたことになるんだよ。
In other words, if you were really passed out on that riverbed, you would have been in the middle of all the toxic gas that was spreading everywhere that night.
だからつまり、君がここで気絶をしていた可能性は否定されたわけさ。
That means there's no chance you could have been passed out there.
もっとざっくばらんに言うよ。
Allow me to be a little more frank.
私はね、君が嘘をついているんじゃないかなって思うんだ。
I think that maybe you might be telling a lie.
君は大災害の時、安全なところに身を潜めていて、ガスが薄れた頃合いを見計らって村に現れて自衛隊の人に保護された。
During the great disaster, you were hiding in a safe place, keeping an eye out for when the gas got thinner, then reappeared and were secured by the SDF.
どうかな？
How about that?
図星かな？
Is that right on the mark? For a short time, the journalist presses Keiichimabara further, in a teasing way, but all that can be heard are heavy sighs.
別に。仮にそうだったとしても、俺は今更驚きませんけどね。
Even if that was the case, I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
驚かないとはどういう意味だい？
What do you mean you wouldn't be surprised?
あんたもさっき言いましたよね。
You said it before, didn't you?
ありえないって。
That it was impossible.
あのひなみ沢では、ありえないことなんていくらでも起こるんです。
Possible things happen in that
いない
Hinamizawa
は
all
ずの
the
場所に
time.
人がいる。
There are people who shouldn't be existing.
死んだはずの人が生きてる。
Dead people end up alive.
そんなこと、珍しいことじゃないんですよ。
It's not really that unusual.
まさか俺自身が死んだはずなのに生きているってやつを立証しようとはね。
Never thought I, of all people, would be asked to prove that I was still alive when I was supposed to have died. Oh god, I totally died. The journalist and Keiichimabara both laughed for a while.
じゃあ、ケイイチ君、話を変えるよ。
Alright then, I'll change the subject.
あの大災害が、ひなみ沢連続開始事件の5年目のたたりではないかという話についてはどう思う？
What do you think of the debate about whether this disaster was the curse? The 5th year of the serial freak death incidents in Hinamizawa.
いや、それはないですね。
I don't think it was.
5年目のたたりは俺ですから。
I was the curse that year after all.
え？
Hmm?
何のこと？
What do you mean?
何のことって。 んたの話に対する答えですよ。
What do I was just answering the question.
あの大災害は、まあ、言っても信じないでしょうけど、
The curse. Well, you probably won't believe me when I tell you this.
俺が起こしたんです。
I was the one who caused it.
俺がね、こんな村、丸ごと死んじまえって願ったから、起こったんです。
I was the one who wished for the whole village to die, and it happened.
そりゃ豪快な話だね。
What an exciting story.
公開？
Exciting?
そういう面白い言い方もあるんですね。
Suppose you could call it that.
高野さんも俺が殺したし、監督も大石も俺が殺した。
I was the one who killed Takano-san and Coach and Oishi too.
あの時の俺にはね、何か神がかり的な力が宿ってたんですよ。
At the time, I had some kind of divine power.
そう。例えるなら、足音かな。
Yes, I suppose it was like footsteps.
足音？
Footsteps?
なんだいそれ。
Wait, what's that supposed to mean?
あんた、足音を聞いたこともないんですか？
You, have you never heard footsteps before?
ペタペタ、
Tip tap,
ひたひた。
click click.
あんたも今日からは歩いてるとき、不意に立ち止まってみると面白いですよ。
Oh god. Oh god, this is creepy as sin. Today, when you're walking around, try stopping suddenly. Something interesting will happen.
それでね、
Anyway,
自分がちゃんと立ち止まったにもかかわらず、足音が一つ余計に聞こえたなら、
if you hear an extra footstep, even though you'd already stopped walking,
気をつけた方がいいですよ。
better be careful, you know. God, there's two of me. Oh god, there's two of me.
そうだね。気をつけるようにするよ。
Yes, I'll be careful.
そんなに俺、面白いこと話してますか？
That's what I'm saying. Really that funny to you?
あんた、さっきからヘラヘラと笑ってばかりですね。
You've been doing nothing but laugh in my face this whole time.
監督と同じだ。
Just like Coach.
俺のことを同情したり、話を聞いたりしてるふりをしながら、その実、人のことを異常者扱いしてる目だ。
You pretend to sympathize with me, to listen to what I have to say, but your eyes are telling me you think I'm a lunatic.
そんなことはないよ。
That's not true.
いや、俺にはわかるんです。
No, I can tell.
あんたの目は監督と同じだ。
Your eyes are the same as Coach's.
あの日以来、もう足音は聞こえない。
I never heard the footsteps again after that day.
だから俺にはもう、あんな恐ろしい力は残ってないだろうけど、
I don't think I have that terrible power anymore.
今ここでもう一度、あんたの死を願ってみるよ。
Perhaps, right here, right now, I'll wish for you to die.
俺に不愉快な話ばかりをする。あんたの死を。
I'll wish for your death for saying all these unpleasant things.
そうだな。今回は一つ、死に方も決めてみようかな。
Yes, this time, why don't I decide how you die?
高野さんは焼け死にだったから。じゃああんたは逆に水だ。
Takano-san was burned to death, so let's go the opposite, with water.
水に溺れて死ぬってのはどうだい？
I hope you drown and die. How's that?
絶好調だった当時の俺なら、次の朝までには必ず死んでる。
If I'm in top form like I was then, you'd die before tomorrow morning for sure.
さてあんたは、何日後に水で死ぬかな？
Now then, I wonder how many days it will take for you to drown. Oh my god. Better be careful, you know.
俺ごときにたたり殺されるな。
Better be careful, you know. Don't go getting yourself killed by some stupid curse I put on you, okay? The recording ends in the middle of Keiichi Maibara's laughter. Oh.
"足音がまた一つ余計に。
I don't like your laugh, man. Oh my god. Are we done? Thank you. Oh, I forgot that we do these. It's been so long. I don't want to. Oh my god. Well, I mean, we're gonna do that, but holy shit. I need a moment. I really just need a moment. That was, wow. Oh, what a fucking dense chapter and dense ending. Mm. There's so much to talk about. I mean, fuck. I mean, one, like I said before, there were several points where I nearly fucking cried. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. I really gotta say that I I don't play a lot of horror games, but when I do, I ever rarely feel truly scared. Like when I like think about playing like FNAF, right? That game, you're not scared really in the same in the way I mean when I say scared. Where you are mostly just you're tense because you're expecting a jolt, right? It's like when you like if it's like your finger is near a live exposed wire and you're tense because you're scared of getting shocked. FNAF is that. And so are a lot of other horror games where it's like I'm scared I'm going to get jump scared. Or even if it's a game without jump scared, I'm just scared I'm going to die and I'm going to lose. I don't think I've ever played a game in my life that has been able to impart the same emotion of fear that Higurashi has been able to achieve multiple times and achieved at least twice, if not more, this one stream. Where I legit, like, felt my heart sink. And it was racing. And my body, my blood felt cold. I've never had a game do that. Besides Higurashi. This game fills me with so much dread. I feel sick to my stomach playing this game sometimes. I think it's a natural consequence of, yeah, it's great. Oh, you wanted to say something finally? Fuck! And there's 5 chapters left. I can't do it, boss. I can't do it. This chapter definitely hurt me the most out of the 3 we've done so far. Because I mean, the best character is probably Keiichi because he's our protagonist. We get his internal monologue. He's the most well written. Uh, but my favorite character is Sadako. So this chapter hurt a lot because Sadako, I mean, you can get on me like, oh, it's not real. It's a story. It's a visual novel. I know, but still, it hurts when you're reading because it's this poor like 8, 9-year-old girl, 10, I think maybe is she, somewhere in that age. She's like 9 or 10, maybe 11 in that range. She is like this small child. Same with Rika, but we've got a lot of Sadako this chapter, where it's just, oh my god, this poor girl. And then Keiichi, this poor boy. Because all of them are just children, right? Like other horror games, you're usually playing as an adult, and the cast is adults. So it's like, you know, that sucks. But children getting hurt is worse. So it was fucking me up. That scene on the bridge. Oh, God. That bridge is gonna haunt me. We're not gonna do that extra thing tonight. That will be its own thing. How long are those? I've forgotten. It's been so long. I might just do that as its own stream and give us like a um practically a break before we get started on chapter 4. Ryukisho 7 writes like someone took everything from him. That's true. It's just, I'm trying to collect my thoughts because of that part where Rika is so fucked. It's so fucked. It's so fucked. And I feel like the game, it has thrown so much at me. Emotionally and also in the broad scale of trying to solve what's going on. Because, like, I can't help but feel as though, like, Keiichi really did seem to have some ability to curse things. I believe it. I buy it. I do buy it. I really believe it. I'm full in on believing there's a supernatural force at play uh, in this game. That's been the case for a while. I think the only points I've truly doubted myself were chapter 1. Chapter 2, I still was clinging onto some hope of there could be a reason. But, no more. No. Oishiro-sama might be real. And, God, it really does feel like I don't know. It feels like Sadako is very specifically targeted by this curse. Right? I don't know. Huh. We didn't know that story before about her uh, going into the ritual storehouse. That was a new one. I was so fucking nervous about this chapter, you have no idea. I could tell. You asked me often how I was doing. I feel like shit. Well, I'm gonna need all of the special little CGs that showed up this time. So the one with I'd like the Rika one. I'd like the one where the one with Sadako where she's angry looking down at us, and I'd like the one of Keiichi looking nuts at the end there. I'd like all of those. I don't know what to say. This chapter fucked me up so hard on a first read. Yeah. Yeah. It's so painful. It's such a painful chapter. Because there's really, once it gets going, there's so little reprieve, right? Like, it starts so sweet. Like, with Sadako, like, you get to kind of take on that brother role with her and fill in for Satoshi because she lost him. And then it all starts going downhill. This game's a fucking journey. But we're done with another chapter. Next stream will be that little extra thing. And then after that, we'll get started with chapter 4, which is apparently a shorter one. I don't know how many streams that'll be. But holy shit. Oh my god, man. I gotta die. At least it can't get any more painful than this, right? Right? Shut up, man. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna put a curse on you. It's not funny. God, it sucks. God, it sucks, man. Careful what you wish for. That's the It is the theme of the whole chapter. Okay. Well, I'm going to go um and try not to bawl my eyes out once the weight of it all hits me. Cuz that ending, there was so much. There was so much. Like, I haven't even commented on Rika really at all because that is the glaring thing that I'm so curious about. Of, I can rationalize the other deaths of, like, yeah, we cursed, we wished for those people to die. We did not wish for Rika to die. So who got Rika? And there's a thing about Rika potentially being like Oyashiro? Huh? Huh? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I always got the vibe she knew more than she was letting on, but I never got the vibe she was nefarious. And she died there. She's died in 2 of the chapters. Theoretically, we have all of the pieces to answer the mystery. Because I know Chapter 4 exists, but Chapter 4 is a bonus or something. So this is the end, kinda, of the question arcs, not counting bonus Chapter 4. So I'm supposed to apparently have all the pieces I need to solve this. Let me tell you, I haven't. I really haven't. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I can give you broad, sweeping things. Like, I think that clearly something supernatural is at play, and we're getting put in loops. I think Sadako is very much getting targeted more than others. Sorry, Sadako. Rika knows more than she's letting on. Mion and Rena get possessed every so often. But I don't know, man. I don't know why. I think I'm in hell. That's the answer. I'm in hell.